Chapter 883. Are you tired? In the office, Liang Xiao had a mischievous smile on her face. Do you need me to massage your waist? Charlotte said with a smile. It's not like you don't know. Do I need it? Rui said she was going to call you last night. Liang Xiao was slightly stunned. Why did she call me? Charlotte said, she asked you to come and help. Only then did Liang Xiao react. Her pretty face suddenly turned red, and then she punched Charlotte. Go to hell. You're doing bad things to make a child. Why should I help? There was a trace of resentment in her eyes. I'm already suffering a lot by following you like this. Do you still want me to sleep with you with other women? You're such a bad guy. How could I fall in love with you in the first place? Charlotte reached out and took her into his arms. He teased. Don't women like bad men? Besides, this is a special situation. She really wanted to call you for help. I'm not lying to you. I was just too embarrassed to stop her. Liang Xiao. Talking about these bad things with him, she wouldn't be able to talk about it until it was dark. Charlotte's hand quietly reached into his senior sister's uniform skirt. What brand is this stocking? It's so nice. Liang Xiao's ears turned red. She wanted to pinch his hand, but she couldn't bear to do it. Yes, the former Charlotte was very honest and shy in that regard. But now, Charlotte was already a wily old fox. Not only did he know how to coax women, but he also had abnormal fighting power. She couldn't tell whether she loved the former Charlotte more or the current Charlotte more. But she was sure that she was really happy with him. As long as she was happy, why should she care so much? Don't be like this. Be careful not to be seen. Liang Xiao couldn't stand it. What brand is that? Victoria's Secret. Didn't you buy it for me? Why ask when you already know? Let me see. Charlotte was about to lift it up. Just then, Qin Kaiwei suddenly walked in. When she saw Director Xia and the CEO come Madame Liang Xiao in the office, she turned around and said, Ahem. I didn't see anything. The two of them hurriedly separated from each other. Charlotte sat up straight and pretended to read some documents. Liang Xiao hurriedly tidied up her messy skirt. Only after she was done did she say, Secretary Qin, what's the matter? Only then did Qin Kaiwei turn around and say in all seriousness, Chairman Xia, Anina and Sylvia asked me to invite you over. They've encountered a problem that they can't solve, and they want you to help them solve it. Oh, I got it. I'll be right there. Charlotte got up and left. Qin Kaiwei originally wanted to go with Charlotte, but when she glanced at Liang Xiao's unfriendly eyes, she dispelled the idea and said obediently, President Liang, is there anything you need me to do? Of course there is. Prepare a draft for the meeting for me, Liang Xiao said. Okay. Qin Kaiwei was really obedient. Liang Xiao secretly said in her heart, although I can't chase away Jiang Rui, Long Bing, and that Fan, there are only so many people in our family. There's no way for newcomers to enter our family. The Xia family's door can only be opened by me. Walking out of the office building, Charlotte put a finger to his nostrils and sniffed it lightly. Then he couldn't help but laugh. Victoria's Secret and Mary's Desire. Xiao, you said I'd become bad, but aren't you the same? But I like it. A man wearing a baseball cap suddenly walked over from the side. Charlotte glanced at him and stopped in his tracks. Boss, I have news about the person you asked me to investigate. He was Siamu, the intelligence expert of the Zodiac Squad. Charlotte was very excited, but he controlled his emotions. Where is she? America, Siamu said, but I don't have much information. I need to go to America personally. I need some money. How much do you need? 500,000 US dollars, Siamu said. I'll give you 1 million US dollars, Charlotte said. But remember, no matter what the situation is, don't go near her. No matter what danger she encounters, don't help her. You just need to monitor her and report to me. Siamu smiled. No problem. Go. Charlotte hugged him and then walked to the tank workshop. At the same time, America, Washington. A woman appeared on a street in Washington. Her clothes were dirty, her face was dirty, and there were some weeds stuck to her hair. She looked like a refugee who had just been smuggled in. However, even though she was dirty, she was still an eye-catching place. Not for any other reason but because she was too beautiful. Her face looked like it had been painted by an artist, and her figure was extremely sexy. Even according to European aesthetic standards, she was definitely a top-grade stunner at the top of a beautiful pyramid. People came and went on the street. Many people stopped to look at the dirty woman, and it was inevitable that some people would talk in low voices. What happened to this woman? It's so strange. With her looks and body, she could get a long-term contract with any modeling company. Did she smuggle in by ship? I don't know. Maybe it's street art. Anyway, I've never seen such a beautiful woman wandering the street. While the people were talking, the woman walked to an old man and asked in Chinese, "Old man, do you know how to get to Langley?" The old man shook his head and said in English, "Sorry, I don't understand you. Are you speaking Chinese?" The woman blinked and then patted the seeds on her head. Suddenly she giggled. "I can understand you, old man. I'm asking you how to get to Langley. Can you tell me? You're rude. You should call me sir. How about I call you Grandpa? Is there a problem here?" The old man pointed at his own head. The woman's eyes instantly turned cold. Just then, a black young man and a white young man walked over. "Hey! Old man, go away!" the black young man said fiercely. The old man followed them. The white young man smiled and said to the woman, "Miss, are you going to Langley? We can take you there." The woman smiled. "Yes, I'm going to Langley. Thank you, big brothers. You're so nice." The black young man and the white young man looked at each other, and both of them had thoughtful smiles on their faces. The black young man said, "Then come with us. I'll drive you there." "Okay. Thank you, big brother." The woman looked very happy. The black young man and the white young man took the woman to an old Ford car. Sigh. On the street, someone sighed. Turns out it's a woman with a screw loose. She jumped into the trap just like that. "That black guy and that B***starred got lucky," a middle-aged man said angrily. He seemed to be annoyed that he did not seize the opportunity to help the woman with the screw loose. Amidst the discussion, the Ford car had already driven in the direction of the slums. In the blink of an eye, it was far away. "Miss, what's your name?" In the car, the black young man asked tentatively, but his eyes were wandering around the woman's full chest and thighs. The black young man who was driving was already like that. The white young man sitting next to the woman unscrupulously put his hand on the woman's thigh. The woman immediately frowned. "Tell me, what's your name? Where are you from?" The white young man's hand was very naughty. The woman suddenly grabbed the white young man's hand. "Why are you touching my leg when you're asking questions? My leg is not for others to touch." "Then who are you letting touch?" The white young man laughed. He felt that this woman was not only good-looking, sexy, but also interesting. "Uncle Xia, I only let Uncle Xia touch," the woman said very seriously. "I did something wrong. My Uncle Xia asked me to come to Langley to wait for him. I know, he will definitely forgive me." "What did you do wrong? Your Uncle Xia is really cruel," the white young man said. "I'm hungry, I want to eat," the woman said. "You're hungry and he punished you like this? Your Uncle Xia is really bad. I'm a good person. How about I give you a banana?" The white young man unzipped his pants and could not help but laugh. The woman looked at the white young man. "Are you really going to give it to me?" "Of course, I'll give it to you. Eat it." The white young man could not wait to grab the woman's hair and press her head down. The woman suddenly reached out and grabbed the white young man's wrist. With a hard pull, the white young man's arm suddenly fell off his arm. "Ah!" the white young man screamed, but his scream did not last for more than 2 seconds. His face had already lost all color. His body tilted to the back seat of the sofa, and he did not move again. You. The black young man hurriedly stepped on the brake and reached out to open the door. He wanted to escape, but before his hand could open the door, his head drooped down. If he could see his brain, he would definitely be horrified to find that his brain was shrinking and rotting at the speed of burning plastic. A minute later, the woman took a deep breath and a smile appeared on her face. It's so comfortable, so warm, but my stomach is still hungry. She touched her lower abdomen and sighed. Uncle Xia, I know you don't like me to eat, but I'm hungry. You asked me to wait for you at Langley. When are you coming to find me? I miss you so much. I promise you, I won't eat anything. I only eat people who want to lie to me, okay? I'll take that as a yes. Let's pinky swear, ha ha ha. The car reeked of blood and the woman with a childlike face. The scene was very strange. The woman was Zhu Xianyue. She got out of the car and looked around. Then, she walked to a roadside court. In the court, a few black young men were peddling illegal pills. An old man took a second look and was immediately threatened. Zhu Xianyue walked toward the few black young men. As she walked, she muttered, "Lie to me, lie to me, lie to me. You must lie to me." A few minutes later. "Uncle, I'm hungry. Is there anything for me to eat?" There is. Do you want to eat a big banana?" "I want to eat." "Ha ha, let's go. I'll take you to eat bananas." Okay. How do I get to Langley?" "I'll send you there after you eat the bananas." "Ha. Uncle, you're so nice." The few black young men surrounded Zhu Xianyue and walked toward a small wooden house. Sometimes, the devil was right beside you, and you gave the devil a reason to attack. Chapter 884. Jiang Rui lived in the Peace Residence. She and Xia Changhe had no barriers to communicate or get along with each other because Xia Changhe watched her and Charlotte grow up together. Those years of Uncle Xia weren't just for show. They were all exchanged for the foundation of father-in-law. As for Jiang Rui, needless to say, the two were neighbors. Jiang Rui gave Xia Shui a lot of candy when she was a child, so this sister was also bought over early on. In fact, putting aside Liang Xiao's role and prestige in the Thunder Horse military factory, if only comparing family members, Jiang Rui was actually more like a housekeeper. After solving the problem of the Knight's Hospitaller, he didn't have the courage and determination to put on the protective suit and enter the box world. After 2 days of adjustment, Charlotte devoted all his attention to work. The first tank of the Thunder Horse military factory was already in the final technical stage, and all the technical problems also fell on his shoulders. In addition, he also had to take care of the new material project and artificial intelligence technology. Although Eugene Li and Huang Shuwen could both be independent, the two didn't have a super brain like him after all. Whether it was tank technology, new materials, or artificial intelligence technology, in fact, it was inseparable from his brain. His role was equivalent to the CPU in the computer. He was indispensable. Therefore, his life also entered a 2.1-line mode. He went to the company to work in the morning and rested at home at night. However, this rest was theoretical rest. There were 2 women who wanted to be a mother living at home, and he was the only man who could help them achieve their wishes. One could imagine the weight of the burden and responsibility on his shoulders. At night, either Jiang Rui or Liang Xiao were in his room. There was not a single idle night. Perhaps considering that he had been too diligent and tired recently, Jiang Rui would make soup for him at home every day, and her soup would always have nourishing ingredients such as deer antler, tiger penis, and ginseng. Drinking it once wasn't a big deal, but drinking it in the morning, bringing it to the office in the afternoon, and at home in the evening, she spooned it for him. He almost vomited. This kind of life lasted for a week. It was not until Jiang Rui returned to Haizhu after her vacation. On the day that Jiang Rui met Haizhu, Charlotte personally drove her to the airport. "I really don't want to leave." Jiang Rui sighed when they arrived at the airport lounge. Then don't go back, Charlotte said to her. Really? Jiang Rui looked at Charlotte with shining eyes. Charlotte smiled. Of course it's true. Can't I afford to raise you? Jiang Rui smiled. I know you can afford to support me, and I also want to stay, but forget it, it's best to maintain the status quo. Otherwise, you'll get tired of being with me every day. Charlotte, what's with your expression? Jiang Rui suddenly realized what she had said. She hit Charlotte. When I said I'll get tired of you, I didn't mean what you're thinking, you pervert. Xia Lei chuckled. You can decide for yourself. You can quit your current job and come to work with Xiao to help me out. You can also stay at home and not do anything. I'll support you. If you don't want to come for now, I won't force you. Anyway, whenever you want to come, just pack up and come. Don't think too much. Remember, we're a family. These were all heartwarming words. Jiang Rui's heart was filled with happiness. She threw herself into Charlotte's arms and hugged him tightly, unwilling to let go. After a while she said, I still like my current job. I can't do what Xiao can do. I have 8 days off every month. If you don't come to find me, I'll fly over to find you. As long as I can be with you, I'll be satisfied. What woman didn't want to live with the man she loved? She actually had her own considerations for making such a decision. Of course, it wasn't because she would get tired of him or something, but because she wasn't the only woman by Charlotte's side. If she stuck to Charlotte like a plaster, what would other women think of her? How would Charlotte get along with them? Even in such a situation, she was still thinking of Charlotte. She loved Charlotte. She loved everything. She had already accepted Charlotte's complicated and chaotic life. Her current state was actually the best for her. She couldn't fight against women like Liang Shiryao and Shintu Tianin, let alone a woman like Tang Yian. The smartest thing to do was to stay away from the battlefield. When she missed Charlotte, she could fly over and stay for a few days. What was wrong with that? All right, I'm going in. You can go back too. Jiang Rui opened Charlotte's door, and then helped Charlotte tidy up his suit and tie that she had messed up. Remember to check your body when you get back. If you have it, don't go on dangerous missions and don't do strenuous exercise. Be careful not to affect the baby, Charlotte warned. Jiang Rui rolled her eyes at Charlotte. You don't even know where your son is yet, and you're already biased towards him. My life is so bitter. In the future, you and your son will definitely bully me. Charlotte, Jiang Rui left. Whether or not there was a seed in her belly was something that could not be said clearly. But judging from Charlotte's performance and hard work over the past few days, it was very likely that he was. As he imagined Jiang Rui's pregnant face, he couldn't help but reveal a smile. As he drove back to the Thunder Horse Army factory, he was also thinking, Fan Fan is pregnant. If Rui and Xiao are also pregnant, then I will have 3 children. I wonder if Long Bing is willing to give birth to a child for me. If she is willing, then I will have 4 children. I will be rich all the time. How great would that be? Ring ring ring, ring ring ring. Just as his imagination was running wild, his phone suddenly rang. Charlotte reached out to take a look. Then, he slid the answer button and said with a smile, Ah Bing, I was thinking about you when you called. Long Bing laughed. I'm not a 17 or 18-year-old girl. You can't fool me. You've been so busy recently. Do you still have time to miss me? Really, I was wondering if you would be willing to give birth to a little monkey or a little princess for me. Give birth to your head. I won't give birth to one for you. Long Bing changed the topic. Come to 101 innings immediately. There are 2 people you will definitely want to meet. Who? Charlotte was a little curious. You'll know when you come. I'll wait for you. Long Bing hung up. Charlotte sighed in his heart. Long Bing was good at everything, but she didn't want to have children. If a woman didn't have her own children, then her life would be incomplete. However, he understood Long Bing. After all, she was a woman who had dedicated everything to her country. Half an hour later, A Night 15 heavy off-road vehicle drove to the gate of 101 innings. This was a gift from Charlotte after he returned from Malta. It was worth 20 million, weighed nearly 6 tons, and was equipped with a V10 engine. Its overall performance was more powerful than any country's military off-road vehicle. Ordinary bullets couldn't penetrate its armor at all. It could even defend against RPG rockets and roadside bombs. Sitting in such a vehicle felt like sitting in a moving fortress. There was almost no need to consider any safety issues. When Charlotte and his Night 15 appeared at 101 innings, a strange look immediately focused on them. If for no other reason, it was because his car was just too cool. One had to know that one could only see it in Fast and Furious 5. It was Johnson's chariot. Tang Yuyan and Long Bing were also among the onlookers. When did this guy buy this car? So vulgar. Tang Yuyan said that she still couldn't get over the shadow of that incident. So now she didn't like anything, especially anything related to Charlotte. Long Bing's eyes were shining as she looked at the Night 15 that stood out in the parking lot. I think it's very good. It's very cool. If only I had one. She liked the best weapons and the best off-road vehicles. She usually drove the most military off-road vehicle, but compared to Charlotte's Night 15, it was like the difference between a BYD and a Ferrari. Tang Yuyan glanced at Long Bing. You like it? That car is estimated to be worth 20 million yuan. How many lifetimes would you have to work to buy it? Stop dreaming. Even I wouldn't be willing to buy a car like that. It's almost as expensive as a plane. Only a prodigal like Charlotte would be willing to buy one. At this moment Charlotte walked over. With a toss of his hand, a central control key flew towards Long Bing. Long Bing reached out and grabbed it. She asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" Charlotte smiled. "I saw your eyes shining as you looked at my car. I know you like two things, guns and off-road vehicles. If you like it, I'll give it to you." Long Bing stared at Charlotte, dumbfounded. Tang Yuyan's jaw almost dropped to the ground. He gave a car worth 20 million yuan to Long Bing just like that, just because Long Bing's eyes were shining when she looked at his car. If giving a woman a car was a state of picking up girls, then he was obviously invincible. Charlotte said, "The purchase tax has been paid, but the car hasn't been licensed yet. You can go and get it yourself." No, no, no. Long Bing came back to her senses. She stuffed the central control key into Charlotte's hand. I can't accept such an expensive gift from you." Tang Yuyan interrupted, "That's right. If your Fanfan finds out that you gave Bing such an expensive gift, will she argue with you?" Charlotte smiled and said, "That's easy. I'll call Fanfan later and ask her to accompany Bing to get the license." Tang Yuyan. In the end, Long Bing couldn't put the central control key back to Charlotte. She actually didn't want to refuse, because she liked the Night 15. After a few pushes, Long Bing sighed and said awkwardly, Then I'll accept it." Charlotte nodded. "I'll buy another one later, and we'll drive the same car." Long Bing. Tang Yuyan curled up the corner of her mouth and said in a sour tone, "Chairman Xia, you're a king now. The organization arranged an empress concubine for you, and you brought Liang Xiao into your harem. Oh, and Jiang Rui, I know she came to live with you for a week. Look, you have 3 wives and 6 concubines now. You're living a happier life than an immortal." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "Yuyan, you know my situation. I'm having a headache, so don't step on my sore foot." Tang Yuyan rolled her eyes at Charlotte. "I'm afraid every man would want to have a sore foot like yours, right?" Charlotte was choked by her words. "I'm also looking at your new car with shining eyes. Can you give me one too?" Tang Yuyan said. Charlotte's head began to hurt. He also regretted giving Long Bing a car in front of Tang Yuyan. He wanted to make Long Bing happy. Tang Yuyan also wanted a Night 15 now. Should he give it to her? "Why? You can give it to Long Bing, but I can't?" Tang Yuyan said. At this time, Long Bing suddenly interrupted and said, "Lei, you sleep at my house tonight. I'll talk to Xiao. This sentence immediately stunned Tang Yuyan. Long Bing used this sentence to tell her that she slept with Charlotte, so Charlotte gave her a car. If you want him to give you a car, sleep with him tonight, Long Bing said in Tang Yuyan's ear. Tang Yuyan, a woman of the Tang family, would obviously not sleep with a man for a night 15, even if that man was Charlotte. Chapter 885. Before coming to 101 innings, Charlotte had no idea that the people Long Bing asked him to meet were Yushanhe and Ling Hao. The meeting place was a very special room. The walls and seats were wrapped with a layer of soft plastic, which was a measure to prevent people from killing themselves by hitting the wall. Yushanhe and Ling Hao met Charlotte in such a room. It was not difficult to see the ending of the two. Yushanhe was sitting on a sofa, reading a newspaper in his hand. Ling Hao stood behind him, like a servant. Yushanhe still maintained a certain leadership aura, but Ling Hao seemed to have changed into a different person. He no longer had the sharpness and confidence of the past. When Sherborne led Charlotte through the door, Yushanhe and Ling Hao looked over at the same time. Both of their eyes focused on Charlotte. In that instant, both of their eyes were filled with hatred. Charlotte smiled. Hello, Chief Yu, Brother Ling. How have you been? Yushanhe and Ling Hao just looked at Charlotte and no one spoke. This meeting was arranged by 101 innings. As far as the two of them were concerned, they certainly did not want to see Charlotte. Charlotte greeted them at this time. It seemed kind and friendly, but for them, it was undoubtedly the most vicious satire. Even a month ago, Yushanhe and Ling Hao were high and mighty figures. Ordinary people might not be able to reach the height they once reached, even if they worked hard for several generations. At that time, the two of them were so glorious. But now? They had become sinners, and what awaited them was the punishment of the law. 1 ridge, 3 ridges, 3 rotten, 3 poor, 3 rich, not old. This old saying could not be more appropriate for Yushanhe and Ling Hao today. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became awkward and dull. Sherborne said, Old Yu, don't read the newspaper. Charlotte is a busy man, and we don't want to waste his time. I arranged this meeting mainly to understand some things. I know you don't want to see each other. It's better for everyone to get it over with. In the past, when Sherborne saw Yushanhe, he had to call him Chief Yu. Now, he even addressed him as Old Yu. Yushanhe put down the newspaper. What's there to talk about? Wasn't it just a small matter? If you have evidence, sue me. Sherborne furrowed his brows. Ling Hao seemed to want to say something, but he didn't. Charlotte moved closer to Sherborne's ear and whispered, When did you catch him? Where did you catch him? Sherborne also moved his mouth close to Charlotte's ear and said in a low voice, We caught him last night in a small mountain village on the border between Heilongjiang and Russia. The two of them actually wanted to escape to Russia. They were really stupid. If they escape to Europe and America, it will be very troublesome for us to extradite them back. Were Yushanhe and Ling Hao such fools? Obviously not. Only Charlotte knew the reason why they went to Russia. It was a hypnotic command given to them by Zhu Xianyue. If they hadn't been arrested, they would have crawled to Moscow. But Charlotte certainly wouldn't tell Sherborne about it. He couldn't even tell Long Bing and Tang Yuyan, let alone him. I see, so that's how it is, Charlotte said. He observed Yushanhe and Ling Hao with his eyes, but secretly said in his heart, These two people look very normal. It seems that they have not been affected by Zhu Xianyue. Did they return to normal after Zhu Xianyue went to the United States? Or is there a time limit for Zhu Xianyue's hypnotic control? He thought of Zhu Xianyue again. What are you two whispering about? Yushanhe stood up from the sofa. I, Yushanhe, am upright and I'm not afraid of you framing me. I also want to tell you that this matter won't end here. If you can't produce any evidence, I'll make you suffer the consequences. Sherborne sighed. Old Yu, if I didn't have evidence, would I dare to invite you here to talk? You know very well what you have done. Let's not beat around the bush and make things clear. We won't make trouble for each other. What do you think? Show me your so-called evidence. Yu Shanha said. You will see it when the time comes. Sure Boren said. Humph. Yu Shanha snorted coldly. If you don't show me the evidence, what am I going to talk to you about? You go. Sure Boren suddenly frowned. Yu Shanha pointed at Charlotte again. And you, get out, I don't want to see you. Forget it, I won't talk to you anymore. I'll let Long Bing handle it. Sure Boren turned and walked out, but he didn't call Charlotte. Charlotte suddenly understood why Sure Boren called him over. Interrogating a big tiger like Yu Shanha was not a simple matter. The simple point was that he was not alone, there were people behind him who had a stake in his interests. Those people were already sitting on pins and needles at the moment. Would they sit back and do nothing about this matter? Under such circumstances, the people who interrogated Yu Shanha would face great pressure and even unknown risk. Sure Boren was a man who was about to retire. Of course, he was not willing to take such risk. If he pulled out the people behind Yu Shanha, would they treat him like this? Sure Boren was not willing, and he was not willing to let Tang Yuyen, who was about to succeed him, do this. Hence, this matter fell on Long Bing's shoulders. She was almost alone, who cared about her life and death. Understanding this, Charlotte's heart was filled with sadness and anger. But he also knew that this was the arena of power. It had always been a battlefield where there was no smoke of gunpowder. He understood Long Bing's situation, but he couldn't change anything at all. Zhu Xianwei and I helped her complete that impossible task, but am I really helping her? The more credit she has, the less legitimate Tang Yuyen's position will be. The relationship between the two was originally very good, but if it continues to develop like this, will it still be as good as before? Will the people behind Yu Shanha treat her like this? Thinking about these things made Charlotte feel sad. Before Long Bing came, Yu Shanha spoke. Charlotte, you must be very proud now, right? Charlotte put away his thoughts and said lightly, It's all right. Rema Group's main battle tank is about to be released, and the progress of artificial intelligence technology and new material technology is also good. These are all things that make me happy, but... He smiled at this point, but seeing the two of you here is what makes me the happiest. Don't be complacent. Be careful that extreme joy turns to sorrow. Yu Shanha did not hide the hatred in his eyes. Charlotte laughed and said, Are you trying to scare me? You couldn't scare me when you were in power, and you didn't beat me. Do you think I will be afraid by saying a few words now? Do you think I will change my position? Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't take chances now that things have come to this. You should stand up and take responsibility for what you have done. Humph. Well, I have given a lot of political lessons in my life. Don't give me that. You are not qualified to give me any political lessons. Yu Shanha said disdainfully. There was no way to talk. Charlotte's eyes moved to Ling Hao. Ling Hao finally spoke. Charlotte, if you are here to laugh at me, you have seen it. You can go. If you are here to help with the investigation, I advise you not to get involved in this matter. Don't you see that Sure Boren doesn't want to get involved? Do you want to get involved? It's not good for you. Go. Charlotte just listened and did not respond. Of course, he would not believe that Ling Hao would be so kind as to specifically remind him not to get involved in this matter. The reason why Ling Hao said this was because he was afraid of him. If these two people had to choose between Sure Boren, Long Bing, and him, they would probably choose Long Bing, not him, not Sure Boren. Why, don't you want to talk to me? Ling Hao said, I have good intentions. Don't misunderstand. Charlotte laughed. Your good intentions? If I believed that you have good intentions for me, the grass on my grave would be half the height of a person. Ling Hao sneered and did not say anything again. Less than 2 minutes later, Long Bing came in. She was holding a transcript of the interrogation, as well as the ink used for signature. Obviously, Sure Boren had thrown the 2 hot potatoes, Yu Shanha and Ling Hao, into her hands. Charlotte had already seen through the truth, but Long Bing seemed to be kept in the dark. She looked excited and happy. Judging from her mood, she was obviously happy to accept this task. Alas! Charlotte sighed in his heart, she is too upright and naive. She is really a silly girl who helps people to earn money after being sold. Long Bing put the interrogation transcript on a table. Chief Yu, Mr. Ling, please cooperate with me. I will finish the process as soon as possible so you can rest. Yu Shanhe and Ling Hao did not even look at Long Bing. Didn't you hear me? Long Bing frowned. Yu Shanhe and Ling Hao still did not even bother to look at Long Bing. Long Bing was angry. She slammed the table and said angrily, "You have to know your current status. Why are you putting on airs?" Yu Shanhe glanced at Long Bing and said slowly, his tone full of disdain, "A very fierce woman. Are you going to torture her?" Torture? For a person like Yu Shanhe, even if he had broken the law, who would dare to torture him? If it was an ordinary criminal or a terrorist, Long Bing would have already pounced on him and beaten him into a transformer. However, the person in front of her was Yu Shanhe. She didn't dare to and couldn't do that. The law was sometimes a very strange thing. If it was serious, if you poked someone with a finger, it could be a personal injury. If it was more lenient, a death sentence could also be a reprieve, and a reprieve could become a fixed death sentence. This was the situation Long Bing was facing now. If she went to beat up an ordinary criminal or a terrorist at this time, no one would find trouble with her. But if she poked Yu Shanhe with a finger, then trouble would come to her like a mountain, and she would be charged with malfeasance or personal injury at any time. Yu Shanhe and Ling Hao also had this kind of strategy. I'll just play with you like this. This is my attitude. What can you do to me? You can't do anything to me. Chapter 886. He wouldn't listen. She didn't dare to hit him. In the face of such a situation, Long Bing was really at her wits' end. She had no experience in interrogating a big shot like Yu Shanhe. Just as she was worrying, Charlotte pulled her sleeve and motioned for her to go out and talk. Long Bing followed Charlotte out of the room. "What do you want to say?" Charlotte said, "This kind of thing should have been done by President Shi. Only he has the right level. Even he is not willing to do it. Why did you take it?" Long Bing said, "This is President Shi's idea. Can I not do it? Besides, I want to do it too. This case was solved by me. I am responsible for the end. Isn't there a beginning and an end? These two people are not simple people. Whoever takes it will be in trouble. Don't you understand?" Charlotte was anxious for her. Long Bing smiled. "Of course I understand. But if I am afraid of trouble, who will do it? Someone has to do it after all. I am not afraid of trouble. Okay, I have to go in. Don't get involved. You are so busy. If you get into trouble, it will waste your time. I am not afraid of trouble. Let the trouble come to me." Xia Lei pulled her back. "You don't have to worry about this. I'll do it for you." "You?" Long Bing looked at Charlotte in surprise. Charlotte said, "Yes, I will handle it. Am I not also a 101 innings person? I am a consultant for 101 innings. If you can take it, I can take it." But Charlotte interrupted her. "Don't say it. Trust me. Let me take it. You are not afraid of trouble. I am afraid of trouble. Do you understand what I mean?" Long Bing was stunned for a moment, but she had to admit that what Charlotte said was true. She was not afraid of trouble, but trouble would definitely come to her. But Charlotte and her situation was the opposite. He defeated people like Yu Shanhe and Ling Hao, and he also had Fan Fan as his fiancée. Would the stakeholders behind Yu Shanhe and Ling Hao dare to cause trouble for Charlotte? Those people pulled Long Bing to Sherboran's office. "What are you going to do?" Long Bing was inexplicably nervous. "You know what I'm going to do. Just listen and don't say anything," said Charlotte. She didn't know why, but she was very happy and liked this feeling, even though she was being forced to do something she didn't want to do. She didn't know why, but even though she was being forced to do something she didn't want to do, she was very happy in her heart and liked this feeling. Under this feeling, she felt that she was a woman, and a woman who was spoiled. Arriving at the door of Sherborne's office, Charlotte didn't rush to knock on the door. Instead, he activated the ability of his left eye to observe. Sherborne was talking to Tang Yuan. "Godfather, isn't it better for you to handle this matter? Why did you let Long Bing do it?" Tang Yuan said, "She solved the case of Yushanhe and Ling Hao, which is equivalent to one person catching a big tiger. With such a great credit, if she is also responsible for finishing the work, it will be another credit. As the director, I didn't do anything. What will the people in the bureau think of me? What will the higher-ups think of me? You are too young to understand the importance of this." Sherborne said, "Yushanhe is not a small figure. There are many people behind him. Those people are now in danger. In this case, will they sit back and do nothing? Whoever takes over will have to face these troubles. You don't have to worry about what Long Bing will get from the interrogation. Yushanhe will not cooperate with her. This matter will eventually be handled by the higher-ups. We are just going through the process and warming up for Yushanhe and Ling Hao." Tang Yuan sighed, "Godfather, I always feel sorry for Long Bing." Sherborne said, "There is nothing to be sorry about. This is work. She will understand you. I know her." Charlotte sneered in his heart. He understood what Sherborne meant. Long Bing was honest. It didn't matter if she was tricked. Long Bing couldn't hear the conversation in the office, and she didn't know that Charlotte was peeping at the conversation between Sherborne and Tang Yuan. She touched Charlotte's arm and looked at Charlotte curiously. She didn't speak. It seemed that she was asking Charlotte with her eyes, "Why are you standing at the door?" Charlotte reached out and knocked on the door. Tang Yuan came over and opened the door. When she saw Charlotte and Long Bing with a gloomy face, her heart inexplicably jumped. Why are you here again?" Charlotte didn't speak to her. He brushed past her and went straight to the point when he faced Sherborne. "Mr. Sher, Yushanhe and Ling Hao are not willing to cooperate at all. Leave this matter to me. I will take over the finishing work." "You?" Sherborne looked very surprised. "Yes, I will handle it," Charlotte said. "I volunteered to complete the task." No. Sherborne shook his head repeatedly. "Yushanhe is not an ordinary person. You can't interrogate him. If you don't let me try, how do you know I can't do it?" Charlotte was angry in his heart. "I say, what's wrong with you today? I think I shouldn't have asked you to come over. You should study more weapons when you have nothing to do. This is what you should do. You want to take over such a task. Do you have nothing better to do?" Sherborne's eyes suddenly moved to Long Bing. "Oh, I understand. You want Long Bing to help you, right? Long Bing, tell me, what is the relationship between you and Charlotte?" We. Long Bing couldn't say it. "Mr. Sher." Charlotte suppressed the anger in his heart. "She's not easy to say. Let me say it. I can tell you very clearly that she is my woman." At this moment, Long Bing's heart softened into a mess. This was the first time that Charlotte said that she was his woman in public. Moreover, he said it in such an occasion in front of Sherborne. To her, this sentence was like a house that Xia Lei had built for her to live in. This was her home. It was also at this moment that Tang Yuan's heart was broken. She racked her brains to get Charlotte's heart, but now Charlotte gave his heart to Long Bing in front of her. Charlotte's words caused no less than 100,000 points of damage to her. Hearing the same sentence, Long Bing's eyes became moist. Tang Yuan's eyes also became moist. But these were two different kinds of moist. Because Long Bing's tears contained sugar, but Tang Yuan's tears contained salt. "You?" Sherborne pointed at Charlotte and glared at Long Bing. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. For him, Charlotte's words were a challenge to him. Charlotte's tone was calm. Mr. Sure, there are some words that I have been holding in my heart for a long time. If I don't say it, I won't be happy. Say it. Long Bing is my woman. I want her to live happily. I only have one wish. I hope you can help me fulfill this wish. Sherborne didn't say anything. Charlotte continued. I want to help her complete this task. Let me take over. I don't want her to get into any trouble, and I'm not afraid of trouble. Do you think you can do whatever you want when you have the ability? Long Bing is your woman. If you feel wronged here, you can take her away. Sherborne's emotions were a little out of control. Charlotte said, I tried to persuade her, but she didn't want to go to my company. She loved this country and she loved her job. I won't force her to give up what she loves, but I will help her. You are really a great lover, but I have the final say here. If I don't agree, I won't agree. Charlotte said, It's fine if you don't agree. I will immediately resign from my position as a consultant in 101 innings. In the future, don't come to me if you have any difficult problems in 101 innings. Sherborne suddenly became angry on the spot. Although Charlotte was only a part-time worker in 101 innings, he was an indispensable core figure. If he resigned, it would definitely be a huge loss to 101 innings, and it would also have a huge impact on Tang Yuyen's career. Godfather, just agree. Tang Yuyen's voice was a little hoarse. Sherborne glared at Tang Yuyen, then pointed to Charlotte. You kid, Charlotte smiled. President Sure, what do you want to say? If you want to take over, why are you still standing here? Get out of here, Sherborne said. Then I'll go. Thank you, President Sure. Thank you, Yuyen. Charlotte thanked him and then left Sherborne's office. From beginning to end, he restrained the anger in his heart. This was the right thing to do. Whether it was Sherborne or Tang Yuyen, they were not his enemies, but his friends. Although he was angry about the unfair treatment that Long Bing had suffered, this was the power field. It was not clean at all, and he could actually understand it. He had always been tolerant to his friends and relatives. A man's heart must be broad-minded to accommodate the mountains and rivers. When Charlotte went out, Tang Yuyen chased after him. Long Bing stood at the door and did not chase after him. You won't blame me, will you? There were more tears in Tang Yuyen's eyes, as if they would flow out at any time. Charlotte couldn't bear it in his heart. He sighed. There are some things that you can't help. I understand, and I won't blame you. A bitter smile appeared on the corner of Tang Yuyen's mouth. If it were me, would you help me like this? Charlotte said, What kind of question is this? In Tavangshi province, I took off all my clothes and gave them to you. How else do you want me to help you? You even left a pair of underwear. Tang Yuyen said. Her mood was obviously better. Okay, I'm going to work. One last question. Tang Yuyen stared at Charlotte. Just now, when you said in front of Godfather and me that Long Bing is your woman, my heart felt like it was torn apart by you. But I'm not jealous of Bing. I'm happy for her. The best gift in her life is you. I know that as well as she does. The question I want to ask you is, if it were me, would you say that? Charlotte shook his head. No. Tang Yuyen was stunned on the spot. Why? Because you're a woman of the Tang family. You don't need it. Charlotte left. Tang Yuyen stared blankly at Charlotte's back. 2 drops of tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. Long Bing walked over and patted Tang Yuyen's shoulder. He can't give you what you want. You don't want what he can give you. You'll be happy when you figure out what you want. Tang Yuyen suddenly pulled Long Bing in front of her and buried her head on Long Bing's shoulder. Chapter 887. Charlotte returned to the room with a cardboard box in his hand. Yushanhe and Ling Hao shifted their gazes to Xia Lei, and both of them frowned. To them, Xia Lei was already an annoying fly that couldn't be chased away no matter how they chased him away. Charlotte sat in the chair in front of the table and said directly, I have good news for you too. I'm here to interrogate you.
You?
Ling Hao's lips curled into a cold smile.
Do you think you're qualified?
Yu Shanhe picked up the newspaper on the coffee table. He wasn't in the mood to read the newspaper, but this was his body language. Stay where you are, Charlotte said lightly. It seems that you are not going to cooperate. Get out, Ling Hao said. Charlotte didn't get angry but laughed.
I can understand that you don't want to see me.
But I want to tell you that if I leave here, I will deal with your families.
I'm not afraid of trouble, and I don't care about the people behind you.
Whoever gives me trouble, I'll kill that person. I can deal with you too, why can't I deal with them? Ling Hao looked at Charlotte coldly. Yu Shanhe couldn't pretend anymore. He looked away from the newspaper and looked at Charlotte. In addition to hatred, there was a trace of worry in his eyes. Very well, you are willing to listen to me. This is a good start. Charlotte opened the cardboard box, took out the things inside one by one, and placed them on the table. Those things were evidence of Yu Shanhe's crimes and illegal gains. Yu Shanhe suddenly rushed over and reached out to grab the things on the table. Xia Lei grabbed his hand and pushed him back. You'd better behave yourself. Yu Shanhe tripped and fell to the ground. He said angrily, How dare you? Ling Hao hurried forward to help Yu Shanhe up and said, Charlotte, how dare you? How dare you hit Chief Yu?
Xia Lei sneered. You're already in this situation, and you're still pretending to be a big shot?
Both of you let me go. If you piss me off, I don't care who you are. I'll beat you up. What can you do to me? Sue me? Or find someone to mess with me? Yu Shanhe was angry. Even if he could control some people to do things for him, they were certainly no match for Charlotte, and they didn't dare to touch Charlotte at all. Ling Hao also felt a sense of grievance. He couldn't win in a fight, couldn't win in an argument. Charlotte seemed to be his nemesis in life. In another room, Long Bing and Tang Yuyan sat in front of a monitor and watched the situation in the interrogation room through it. He actually pushed Yu Shanhe to the ground. He's getting fiercer and fiercer. Tang Yuyan was surprised. Long Bing didn't seem to hear Tang Yuyan's words. She couldn't hide the smile on her face. She couldn't hide the smile on the corner of her mouth.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
Why are you love-struck? Tang Yuyan patted the back of Long Bing's head with dissatisfaction, but it was very light. Long Bing said, What did you say? Tang Yuyan. Long Bing's eyes moved to the monitor again. She didn't know why, but she liked and felt comfortable when she saw Charlotte. She even wanted to sleep with him. Well, Bing, let's talk about bestie-level topic. What bestie-level topics? How many times have you done it with Charlotte? Long Bing looked at Tang Yuyan strangely and looked embarrassed. Are you crazy? Okay, I'll change the question. Is he powerful? Haven't you slept with him? Tang Yuyan rolled her eyes at Long Bing. If I had slept with him, would I still be asking you this question? She said that, but in her heart, she was thinking about the night she and Xia Lei were in Tavang, Shi province. In that limousine, she and he actually had a centimeter or two of relationship, but that didn't seem to count. Long Bing opened her mouth and couldn't close it. She didn't expect Tang Yuyan to ask her such a question, but she couldn't help but think of the ridiculous things she and Charlotte had done. Those seductive images turned her into a lily in the morning, with dew on its petals. So, we're both women. What's there to be embarrassed about? Tang Yuyan nudged Long Bing's small waist with her arm. Long Bing was stunned for a while before she said, Won't you know if you try? Tang Yuyan was speechless. Long Bing moved closer to Tang Yuyan's ear again. Tang Yuyan's mouth was open and couldn't close it. Her face was red too. Not only was it red, but it was also burning hot. You're not young anymore. You should find a boyfriend and experience what it's like to be a woman, Long Bing said in an experienced tone after saying those embarrassing things. Humph. You can't wait for me to find another man, can you? Tang Yuyan rolled her eyes at Long Bing. I can't be bothered to talk to you. You can continue being a good girl in the Tang family. Long Bing ignored Tang Yuyan and shifted her gaze to the monitor. Tang Yuyan, on the other hand, was still thinking about what Long Bing had just said. Her eyes were filled with sadness. Continue being a good girl in the Tang family? Was this really the life she wanted? She didn't know at all. In the interrogation room next door, Charlotte continued to put pressure on Yu Shanhe and Ling Hao. I'll clean up the mess. You can still leave some property for your family so that they can live an easy life for the rest of their lives. If I can't handle it, when the investigation team comes, I'm afraid you'll have to spit out everything you've eaten. Not only that, as long as your family participated in what you did or benefited from it, they can't get away with it. They will also be punished accordingly. Don't expect your people to keep your family safe or leave a way out for your family. I'll pull them out one by one and expose them to the spotlight. Charlotte's tone was light, but every word he said was threatening. Yu Shanhe was still silent and didn't say a word. Ling Hao's face turned green and white, and his eyes flickered. Charlotte saw it, but he said calmly, Mr. Ling, I know what's the relationship between Song Baicheng's woman and you. Song Baicheng's son is actually your son. You've hurt a lot of people in your life. Are you going to hurt your own son at this time? Ling Hao bit his lip and his face turned pale. What do you mean? Charlotte said, Do I have to make it clear? Well, I'll just say one thing. You'll make him an orphan. Moreover, he won't have a penny in his name. Do you want your son to grow up in an orphanage? Or do you want him to wander the streets and make a living by picking up garbage? Enough. Don't say any more. Ling Hao clenched his fist. He had lost control of his emotions. Is it okay if I don't say anything? Charlotte sneered. Since I can invite you two here, you should know what your end is. Is there any use in struggling? Ling Hao and Yu Shanhe looked at each other. Charlotte got up and put the things on the table into the cardboard box one by one. Yu Shanhe said aloud, How did you get them? I went to your house to get them myself. Charlotte said, You know very well that this is only a part of it. I've decided that I'm going to take all of them. Not only yours, but also your wife's, your son's, and all your relatives. I won't let them go. And you, Ling Hao, I'll dig out all the dirty things from you and the people around you. I promise you that I can find everything that the investigation team can't. You should also know very well that the more things I find, the more guilty you will be. You two want to play with me? I tell you, you can't afford to play. Everything was put into the cardboard box. Charlotte carried the cardboard box and left. But just as he walked to the door, Yu Shanhe finally said, Wait. Charlotte stopped and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Are you willing to cooperate with me? Yu Shanhe nodded his head gently. At this moment, he was like a boxer who was knocked down by his opponent in the boxing ring, and the referee rang the bell to end the match. And the opponent who defeated him was Charlotte. Ling Hao also lowered his head helplessly. His pride, his dreams, everything he had left him at this moment. He looked as if he had aged 10 years all of a sudden. Charlotte sat back at the table and opened the notebook. Let's start now. An hour later, Charlotte walked out of the interrogation room. Things that Sherboran didn't want to take over, things that Long Bing couldn't handle, were easily done by him. Tang Yuyan and Long Bing had been waiting for him at the door. Charlotte handed the interrogation record to Long Bing. I won't go to see Boss Shi. You give this to him. Long Bing nodded. Wait for me. I'll give it to Boss Shi and get off work. Let's go to my house. I'll cook for you. A smile appeared at the corner of Charlotte's mouth. Okay, I'll wait for you. He was short of time, but he was willing to waste time on Long Bing. Tang Yuyan's heart was sour. Don't you two have to be so shameless? It would have been better if she hadn't said it. As soon as she said it, Long Bing suddenly leaned over to Charlotte's ear and whispered to him, Don't you want me to give birth to a child for you? I promise you, I'll think about it seriously. Charlotte was happy. But when he saw Tang Yuyan staring at him and Long Bing, he was very alert and closed his mouth, just nodding his head. After speaking, Long Bing suddenly kissed Charlotte on the cheek. She did it on purpose. What Sherborne and Tang Yuan had done made her a little bitterly disappointed, and she was not a woman who could be bullied easily. She also had her own way of fighting back. Didn't you not want to see me with Charlotte? Not only did I have a good relationship with him, but I also made out with him in front of you. This kiss was like a needle, mercilessly pricking Tang Yuyan's heart. Long Bing left to find Sherborne. Tang Yuyan blocked Charlotte's way. Do you really want this kind of life? Charlotte said, I think it's good. I'm very happy. Does Fan Fan allow you to mess around like this? Charlotte frowned. What do you mean by messing around? She and I went through life and death together. When I started my business, she helped me more than once. She likes me and I like her. How can we be messing around? What about Liang Xiao? She's the first woman I fell in love with, and she's also my master's daughter. We're a family. We did have bad things in the past, but that's all in the past. We're back together now. Is there a problem with that? What about Jiang Rui? Rui and I are childhood sweethearts, and we have a relationship since we were young. Isn't it good for us to be together? What about Fan Fan? It was arranged by the organization. It would be a waste not to take it. Tang Yuyan was so angry that her tears were about to flow out. Charlotte sighed. I'm sorry, forget about me. I'm not a good man, and I won't be a good man for your Tang family. He brushed past her. Tang Yuyan's tears rolled down. Chapter 888. They said they were going to her house for dinner, but when it was time for dinner, the two of them were on a riverbank. The night sky was dotted with stars, and the bright moonlight had its own romantic attribute. There was water flowing in the riverbed, but it was not clear at all. A Knight 15 stood quietly under the night sky, its lines strong and sturdy, like a steel monster. Yes, the woman who loved cars got a Knight 15 that was worth 20 million. Didn't she want to drive it around in the wilderness? Could she resist the power and roar of the V10 engine? Could she resist showing her wild and charming side in front of the man she loved? Long Bing, she would never be the kind of woman who cooked for her man at home. Charlotte didn't know how many times she had heard from her mouth that she cooked for him, but there were only 1 or 2 times when she didn't eat instant noodles. Therefore, he didn't expect to eat a delicious meal at Long Bing's house tonight at all. When Long Bing said this to him, he was actually prepared to eat instant noodles in his heart. But this time, he obviously couldn't even eat instant noodles. This place was in the middle of nowhere, and it was a wilderness. Even if he had 100 billion yuan, he couldn't buy a bowl of instant noodles. Is it really worth 20 million? On the grass, the woman lying in Charlotte's arms broke the ambiguous silence. Why do you ask this? Charlotte enjoyed the peace. I want to know more. Tang Yuyan said it was worth 20 million. Long Bing said. Plus the purchase tax, it's actually 21 million. Long Bing opened her mouth. I don't dare to drive such an expensive car. Well, why did you give me such a good car? Charlotte looked at her quietly, his eyes full of gentleness and love. You are my woman. You like guns, so I will give you the best gun in the world. You like cars, so I will give you the best car in the world. I will give you the best thing in the world. Long Bing's heart was already in a mess. She murmured, I only want you. Charlotte smiled and said seriously, Yes, I'm the best too. Hee. Long Bing couldn't help but laugh out loud. Xia Lei just looked at her. She wanted to remember her most beautiful appearance in her heart. Tang Yuyan is crying today. Long Bing sighed. I feel like I hurt her. I don't feel good about it. You are actually a soft-hearted woman. Even though Yu Yen and Ba Shi are trying to exclude you, you are still thinking about her. I'm her sister. I didn't want things to turn out like this. Is my heart really that soft? Charlotte reached out and pressed it. Isn't it very soft? Long Bing's pretty face blushed at once. Under the bright moonlight, her milky breasts perked up under her half-opened shirt. Her snow-white skin that was exposed from her collar was whiter and softer than the moonlight. That seductive deep cleavage seemed to be flowing with the sweetest wine. Just its fragrance could make people intoxicated. Charlotte was a little dazed. He also forgot to take that naughty hand away. Long Bing also stared straight at Charlotte. Her eyes were more eager than Charlotte's. "Don't you want me to give you a little monkey or a little princess? If you just look at me like this, I can't give birth to them." Charlotte was instantly impulsive. He kissed her a few minutes later. "Ouch, no, no. What's wrong?" At this critical moment, Charlotte was anxious. "My lower part is full of stones. Can you bear it?" Charlotte shook his head. "Then you're on the bottom. I'll be on top." Charlotte, the next day. Thunder Horse Army Factory's tank workshop. An unfinished ZTZ-100 main battle tank was lying on the assembly table. Sylvia, Anina, and Xia Lei were busy working on it. All three of them were in work attire. Their faces and bodies were covered in oil. It wasn't just the three of them. A large group of Rema Group elites were busy around the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, fighting for its birth. Although this ZTZ-100 main battle tank borrowed some of the technology from the German Leopard 2 tank, it wasn't the Leopard 2 tank. The Leopard 2 tank only had a total weight of 55 tons. However, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank would weigh an astonishing 65 tons. It would be 10 tons heavier than the Leopard 2 tank and 12 tons heavier than the latest American M1A3 main battle tank. It could be said that it would be the largest main battle tank in the world. Not only was it large, but it also had all the most advanced technology from Rema Group. Its turret was almost as long as the body of the vehicle. The huge turret increased the thickness of the armor, which had a very positive effect on the survival of the tank on the battlefield. Moreover, its armor was the latest ceramic reactive armor developed by Thunder Horse Army Factory's Defense System Workshop. It could withstand armor-piercing shells from a 155mm main cannon 2,000 meters away. This performance was better than the ceramic reactive armor of the American M1A3 main battle tank that could defend against 144mm main cannon fire. The bigger it was, the more space it had, and the more ammunition it could carry, the higher the requirements for the engine. The engine installed on the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was the Thunder II, which was based on the Thunder II of the Scavenger infantry fighting vehicle. Its horsepower reached an astonishing 2,500 horsepower. Such power was one-third more powerful than the 1,800 horsepower engine of the American M1A3 main battle tank. Most importantly, it could accelerate the 65-ton ZTZ-100 main battle tank from a stationary state to 100 km per hour in only 8 seconds. Even the M1A3 main battle tank, known as the world's most advanced M1A3 main battle tank, had a maximum speed of 82 km per hour. In terms of the firepower system, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was equipped with a fire control system developed by Rema Group. It consisted of a laser rangefinder, a ballistic computer, a gunner's stabilized sight, a two-way gun stabilization, control instruments, and various sensors. It was also equipped with an automatic reloading system and a comprehensive thermal imaging system. The Artificial Intelligence Department led by Huang Shuwen also played an important role in the construction of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's fire control system. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank's fire control system contained a large amount of artificial intelligence technology. This was equivalent to adding a very smart control assistant to the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. On the battlefield, this kind of integrated artificial intelligence fire control system could be exchanged for terrifying combat power. In terms of firepower, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was equipped with a 155mm smoothbore cannon developed by Thunder Horse Army Factory's artillery workshop. It could fire a variety of special shells, including armor-piercing shells that could penetrate 900 mm homogeneous steel armor from 3,500 meters away. With the assistance of the laser-guided artillery system, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank could even hit any armored target within 12 kilometers. In addition, it was equipped with three 7.62 mm machine guns and one 12.7 mm remote-controlled machine gun. This configuration was the same as the M1A3 main battle tank in the United States, but the difference was that any gun produced by Thunder Horse was the world's most advanced gun. There was no need to prove this, because the XL-2500 sniper rifle and Gale assault rifle were ironclad proof. This was not the strength that was shown on paper. Once the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was born, the world's most advanced main battle tank would no longer be the M1A3, but the Rema Group's ZTZ-100 main battle tank. It would change the balance of land warfare on the Asian continent. Lucas, give us half a month, give us another half a month, and we can give you the world's most advanced tank. In the cockpit of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, Anina, who was debugging the hydraulic power system, said. Charlotte smiled. You guys have worked hard during this period. After the ZTZ-100 main battle tank is off the production line, the two of you should have a good rest. Sylvia, who was installing the parts, smiled. We've really been exhausted during this period. Once it's done, Anina and I want to go to Greece for some fun. Lucas, do you want to go with us? You guys want to go to Greece? Charlotte was a little surprised and worried. Yes, we want to go to the Aegean Sea and the Temple of Athens. Aren't you coming with us? Sylvia looked at Charlotte with anticipation. I don't have time to go. You guys go have fun, I'll make the arrangements. Charlotte pondered. If the Japanese and Americans find out that they're going to Greece for a vacation, they'll definitely take action. However, it shouldn't be a problem to send people from the Zodiac battle team to protect them. They've put in so much effort for such a long time. If I can't even help them realize this wish, it won't be right. Lucas, step back a little, Sylvia said. Xia Lei put away his thoughts, but before he could take a step back, a plump butt suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Sylvia's butt, which had squeezed in front of him to install the instruments on the dashboard. It came so suddenly, and he didn't have any space to step back. His face was instantly in intimate contact with that plump butt. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sylvia hurriedly leaned forward. Charlotte smiled. It's nothing, however, before he could finish, Anina, who was beside him, suddenly pulled a prank. She reached out and pushed his head forward. His head bumped into Sylvia's voluptuous breasts again. It was an indescribable feeling. Apart from the smell of engine oil and sweat, there was also... The atmosphere in the tank's cockpit suddenly became ambiguous and strange. When men and women work together, work isn't tiring. This was a saying in the blue-collar world. Charlotte wasn't unfamiliar with this feeling, because he was from a blue-collar background. Anina, how dare you play tricks on me? Give me your butt and I'll spank it. Charlotte raised his hand, preparing to spank her. Anina simply turned around, bent down, and raised her butt, waiting for Charlotte's slap to land. However, Charlotte froze. He was just saying it, but he didn't expect the German woman to be so willing. She was ready to spank him as soon as he spoke. Spank me, I still need to work. Anina urged. Charlotte slapped her, and a greasy handprint appeared on Anina's work pants. Director Xia, someone's looking for you. An employee's voice came from above the turret. Who? Charlotte subconsciously asked. It's Miss Fan and a few soldiers. I'll be right there. Charlotte wiped his hands and climbed out of the turret. At the entrance of the tank workshop, Fan, who was dressed in office lady attire, was walking over with a few military personnel. Seeing Charlotte standing on the turret of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, Fan immediately smiled and waved at Charlotte from afar. Xiaolei jumped down from the turret and went up to meet them. Chapter 889. Among the few soldiers who came with Fanfan, one of them had a pine-green epaulet on his shoulder, with 2 golden stars on the golden leaf. Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. That was a general. He couldn't help but take another look at the general. The general was in his early 50s, with a square face, sharp eyes, and a burly body. He gave off the impression of being capable, confident, and dignified. A general from the army. He's probably here for the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. I haven't even finished building it yet, and they're really impatient. Charlotte thought to himself as he walked over with a smile. Old Shirley. Fanfan called him Old Shirley affectionately. This is General Huang He from the Northern Tank Corps. Hello, Chief Huang He. Welcome to my factory for an inspection. Charlotte extended his hands to shake hands with Huang He, but he suddenly realized that his hands were covered in oil. He smiled awkwardly and wanted to withdraw his hands. Huang He grabbed Charlotte's hands. Isn't it just some oil? I work with tanks every day in the army, and I like the smell of engine oil. Ah. He was indeed here to see the tank. However, Charlotte liked this General Huang He. He was an approachable general. Fanfan then introduced Charlotte to the military leaders who came with Huang He. They shook hands with Charlotte, not minding the oil stains on Charlotte's hands. That's the Lima Group's ZTZ-100 main battle tank, right? Without exchanging pleasantries, Huang He anxiously walked toward the ZTZ-100 main battle tank on the assembly line. Charlotte said, Chief Huang, you're a little early. We still need a month to complete it. Anina said it would take another half a month to complete the assembly. He said it would take 1 month, which included the time for testing. I can't wait that long. I want to see it now. Huang He walked over impatiently. A few soldiers surrounded the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Some were talking to the staff of the Rema Group, while others were looking at the blueprint. The most impatient one was Huang He. He even climbed onto the turret to peek inside the tank. Charlotte and Fanfan watched from the side. What is this General Yellow River doing here? Charlotte said, Our tanks haven't even left the production line yet. Fanfan said, They first went to the Shenzhou Industry Group and saw the tanks of the Shenzhou Industry Group, but they didn't like them. Then they applied to come here to see your ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Therefore, the higher-ups arranged for me to bring people over. What do you mean? Charlotte was curious. Shenzhou Industry Group's Type 99 main battle tank was currently the most advanced main battle tank in China. Although it was far from the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, in Asia, other than Japan's Type 10 tank and Russia's T-90 tank, the Type 99 was considered very advanced. Why would they look down on it? What's more, the Type 99 was the current main battle tank that was heavily equipped with the Army. Even if the Army wanted to change the main battle tank from the Type 99 to the ZTZ-100, it would take at least a few years to complete the task. I know what you're thinking. Fanfan's mouth showed 2 dimples. The reason I understand is not that the Army wants to change the tank, but the Russian tank biathlon. Tank biathlon? You still don't know? That's a competition exclusively for tank. European and American countries don't want to participate, but it has a great influence in Asia and the Third World. From a strategic perspective, it's actually a platform to show off military force and deter hostile countries around it, Fanfan said. Charlotte said, So it's really a big deal. Yes, it's much more meaningful than the weapons exhibitions you've participated in, because it's a direct confrontation between tanks, Fanfan said with a sigh. But we've never won. Charlotte, tanks were the king of land warfare. The strength of a country's tanks was largely related to the country's land warfare strength. If you couldn't even win against the other party's tanks, why would the other party be afraid of you? They're probably here to take a look and take your ZTZ-100 main battle tank for the competition. We've never won, and even India's ranking is higher than ours. It's really hard for our soldiers to accept, Fan said. Charlotte smiled bitterly. My tank is only a half-finished product. How can I bring it to the competition? At that moment, Huang He jumped down from the turret and waved at Charlotte. Comrade Charlotte, come here, come here. He looked very excited. Not only was his voice agitated, but his body language was also very exaggerated. Charlotte walked over and said with a smile, Chief Huang, is there anything you need me to do? Huang He came over and gave Charlotte a firm hug. Then, he said with a smile, amazing, amazing. I like you so much. Charlotte smiled awkwardly. Fan said playfully, Chief Huang, you like this tank, right? Yes, I really like this tank, but I also like Comrade Charlotte. Huang He laughed and said, it's our country's great fortune to have a talent like you. Charlotte said politely, Chief Huang, you flatter me. Not at all. Huang He pointed at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank next to him and said excitedly, although it's not complete yet, based on my vision and intuition as someone who has dealt with tanks all my life, it will become the king of the tank world. Fan could not help but smile. She looked at Charlotte's face from the corner of her eyes and could not help but feel happy. In the face of such praise, Charlotte did not feel anything special in his heart. This was because he knew that his ZTZ-100 main battle tank was a tank that left the American M1A3 main battle tank in the dust. Among the world's top 10 tanks, the American M1A1 is ranked first, and it's not even the most advanced M1A3 main battle tank. For our army, that kind of tank is simply a weapon of the future. We don't even dare to think about it. What's infuriating is that the ranking actually put India's Arjun tank in front of us, and then Japan's Type 10 tank. Huang He sighed. We haven't fought against Japan's Type 10 tank, but in the Russian tank biathlon, we fought against India's Arjun tank. We actually, sigh. He could not bring himself to say the result. Some people think that our Type 99 tank is already the most advanced tank in the world, but that's wrong. For example, the tanks in Europe and the United States are all automatic and use gas turbine engines. They have long since stopped burning diesel. Tanks equipped with gas turbine engines are not only faster, but also more agile. Their wear resistance is 3 times that of diesel generators, and the maintenance time is also reduced by several times. On the other hand, our Type 99 is still using an outdated diesel engine. Just based on this, how can it be called the most advanced tank? Huang He said. Charlotte smiled. That's the truth. We've made progress, but we're still too far behind Europe and the United States. However, we'll soon turn the page on tanks. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank uses a gas turbine engine with 2,500 horsepower, which is 1/3 stronger than the engine of the American M1A3 main battle tank. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank is also automatic. Although it's 12 tons heavier than the M1A3 main battle tank, it's faster and more agile. Yes, that's why I can't help but be excited. We've always dreamed of having an automatic tank, and you've made it a reality. Huang He patted Charlotte's shoulder. Comrade Charlotte, do me a favor. Charlotte said, Chief Huang, just tell me what you need. Don't stand on ceremony. Half a month. Give me this ZTZ-100 main battle tank in half a month. I'll take it to Russia to participate in the tank biathlon, Huang He said, his eyes full of anticipation. This, Charlotte said awkwardly, it'll take half a month to complete the assembly, and after that, we'll need to conduct comprehensive tests. Half a month is simply not enough time. Huang He said, I know this is a little difficult for you. A brand new tank entering the tank biathlon without going through a comprehensive test is also very risky. However, this time the Japanese will participate. Their latest improved Type 10 tank will participate in the competition. I've always dreamed of beating the Japanese tanks. Why would the Japanese participate? Charlotte was a little surprised. Because Japan and Russia have started negotiations on the 4 northern islands. This is also a gesture of goodwill. You know, Russia is in a difficult situation now. It needs Japanese investment. I don't care about that. I just don't want to lose to Japan, Huang, he said. Charlotte thought for a moment. All right, I promise you. After the assembly is complete, immediately send the ZTZ-100 main battle tank to Russia. I'll test it on the way. You're going to? Fan nudged Charlotte with her elbow. It seemed to be a hint. She was worried about Charlotte's safety. Huang He's eyes widened. Comrade Fan, what do you mean by this? I know that Comrade Charlotte is our country's national treasure. There will be a certain amount of risk if he leaves our country, but aren't you looking down on our Northern Tank Corps? I'll send 1,000 elites to protect him. If he loses a single hair, you can hold me responsible. Fan's face was flushed with embarrassment. Huang He said loudly, Did I say something wrong? Comrade Fan, you are Comrade Charlotte's fiancé. I can understand your concern for him, but isn't my promise enough? Enough. Fan followed. If he wants to go, I can't stop him. Huang He grinned. That's more like it. Comrade Charlotte, you have a good wife. Fan's lips curled into a smile, but she sighed in her heart. That's one of the reasons. My real good wife is in the office. Her surname is Liang. Who do I think I am? In the past, she had never thought of becoming Charlotte's only woman. But as time passed, feelings grew. Coupled with the little monkey in her belly, she couldn't help but imagine it. This was unavoidable. No woman was willing to share the man they loved with another woman. However, would a man like Charlotte only have one woman? This was obviously unrealistic. Chief Huang, then it's decided. In half a month, we'll go to Russia. We want to show them the real king of tanks. Charlotte said. Huang He shook Charlotte's hand again. Raise the prestige of our country. Chapter 890. Half a month later. Russia, Arabino Shooting Range, Moscow Oblast. A train slowly entered the station. This was a train from China. In addition to the carriages carrying passengers, there were also more than a dozen flat carriages. The carriages were loaded with tanks from China. They were all Type 99 main battle tanks. However, one of the carriages was covered with a large military canvas, and it was tightly covered. Although one could tell that it was a tank based on its shape, one could not see what kind of tank it was. On the flat carriage stood 4 soldiers armed with live ammunition. Their postures were ramrod straight, and they were vigilantly watching the situation in the station. There were also several trains parked at the station. The situation was the same. There were tanks on the trains. There were India's Arjun tanks and Japan's Type 10 tank. There were also soldiers and tanks from Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and other countries. The station had become a tank base for the United Nations Army. We're here, Comrade Charlotte. Let's get off, Yellow River said to Charlotte. He was very polite to Charlotte. Okay, let's get off. Charlotte got up and followed Yellow River. Beside him, a large group of special forces from the Tank Corps followed closely. These special forces had only one purpose, and that was to protect him. Charlotte walked down from one of the carriages. He saw the Type 10 tank and India's Arjun tank on one of the trains. These 2 types of tanks were ranked higher than the Type 99 tank in the international rankings. The Indian and Japanese media rarely hyped up the rankings, and there was no lack of sarcasm. However, the truth was true. The Type 99 tank's firepower was strong, but its mobility, maintenance, and electronic equipment were lagging behind. A group of Japanese people also alighted from the train. There were Japanese soldiers in military uniforms, and there were also staff in civilian clothes. Charlotte's gaze suddenly shifted to a woman in the group of Japanese. He could not look away anymore. The woman was wearing a traditional kimono and had her hair combed into the traditional shimada bun of Japanese women. Coupled with her powdered face and cherry-shaped mouth, the woman's charm was vividly displayed. However, this was not the reason why Charlotte could not look away. The reason he could not look away was because this woman was my Hattori. Just as Charlotte was looking at my Hattori also looked over. When she saw Charlotte, she stopped looking. When their eyes met, Charlotte's heart suddenly had a complicated feeling. In Paris, he and she had been married for a while. In India, he and she had become mortal enemies, and he had also killed her brother, Hattori Tsukihito. Meeting again, the past emerged in his mind and he could not get rid of it. At this time, a tall man in military uniform walked out of the carriage and stood beside my Hattori, blocking Xia Lei's line of sight. Perhaps he was talking to my Hattori, but the man suddenly turned around and looked in Xia Lei's direction. This man was Hattori Masao. Charlotte was just wondering why my Hattori was here. Now that he saw Hattori Masao, he did not find it strange anymore. Hattori Masao was a general of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. Japan's Type 10 main battle tank had come to Russia to participate in the tank biathlon. As a general of the Ground Self-Defense Force, it was normal for him to appear here. Humph! Yellow River glanced at the group of Japanese, then his gaze fell on Hattori Masao. Hattori Masao, the general of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. That guy is a hardliner and is considered a right-wing figure in Japan. He has made many unfriendly remarks. I know him. Charlotte looked away. How do you know each other? Yellow River looked surprised. Charlotte said, last time in Paris, France, when he participated in the International Army Weapons Exhibition, his daughter and he came to visit our Rema Group exhibition hall. His daughter is the assistant of Ms. Fossen of Lockheed Martin Corporation. She is the woman in the kimono. Yellow River glanced at my Hattori, but it was just a glance. My Hattori was a rare beauty among the mixed-race girls. Yellow River did not look at her. An upright soldier like him was not interested in women. The group of Japanese also walked in the direction of the station hall, and the two sides soon met at the entrance of the hall. The Japanese soldier looked at the Chinese soldier expressionlessly, and the Chinese soldier also looked at the other side with a cold face. If it was a Japanese citizen and a Chinese citizen meeting like this, it would not be a big deal. But it was different for soldiers. Japan invaded China and committed heinous crimes in China. As a soldier, they could never forget the history of blood and tears. What's more, until now, the Japanese military still occupied China's islands and blocked China's development with the United States. This kind of behavior, to put it bluntly, was hostile. Therefore, when Japanese soldiers and Chinese soldiers met, they would see each other as potential enemies. Why would they be nice to the enemy? Mr. Xia, we meet again. My Hattori had a charming smile on her face, and her Chinese was fluent. It's been so long since we last met in France. Why didn't you call me? Have you forgotten about me? You are. Charlotte pretended to remember. My Hattori did not seem to mind at all. You really know how to act. You can forget about me, but I won't forget about you. Of course, she would not forget a man she had slept with several times. Moreover, this man had stolen the Hattori family's artificial intelligence technology, and even killed her brother. Hattori Masao looked coldly at Charlotte, not hiding the hatred in his heart. He would not forget the blood feud with Hattori Moonblade. Sorry, I really don't remember. Goodbye. Charlotte walked away. Wait. My Hattori caught up with Charlotte's footstep. Why are you here? Why are you here? Charlotte asked her the same question. Of course I'm here to participate in the tank biathlon. My Hattori said. I'm also here to participate in the tank biathlon. Charlotte said the same thing. Can we not be like this? My Hattori curled the corner of her mouth. Let's talk somewhere else. I don't think we have anything to talk about, right? Charlotte said. I don't think so. Let's talk. You won't lose anything. My Hattori looked like she was looking forward to it. Charlotte was still hesitating. Huang, he said loudly, what's wrong with you, madam? Mr. Xia has already said it very clearly. Please respect yourself. Hattori Masao said coldly, Mr. Huang He, is this how you Chinese soldiers treat women? Huang He looked at him coldly. That depends on what kind of woman it is. How can you say that? You should apologize. An officer of the ground self-defense force who understood Chinese said, his words not at all polite. The Chinese soldiers immediately rushed forward. The atmosphere became tense all of a sudden. Charlotte suddenly had a headache. If they were to fight here, it would be a big mess, and the mess would be caused by him. He quickly said, what is this? Everyone calm down. He changed his tone and said, Officer Huang, I'll talk to her. It'll only take a few minutes. Huang He nodded. Okay, we'll wait for you. A large group of armed special forces stood there, waiting for Charlotte to come alone. Only Charlotte had this kind of face. My Hattori walked forward along the platform. Charlotte followed behind her, quietly awakening the ability of his left eye to check her body. The results of the X-ray vision came out very quickly. She didn't have any hidden weapons on her body. The only abnormal thing was a butterfly-shaped sponge. When he used his X-ray vision on that thing, he felt as if his eyes were pricked by a needle. After walking for about 20 meters, my Hattori was still walking forward, but Charlotte stopped. Okay, let's stop here. It's far enough. What do you want to say? Let's talk here. My Hattori stopped and looked at Charlotte. I saw a tank covered with military canvas on one of the carriages of your train. What kind of tank is that? How would I know? Type 99, Charlotte said. Don't lie to me. Although it's covered with canvas, it's obviously much bigger than a Type 99. It's even bigger than our Type 10 tank. It's not a Type 99 tank at all, right? My Hattori tried to probe. Charlotte shrugged. I'm not sure. I'll go back and ask. Don't pretend. That's your Rema Group's tank, right? I have information that you've been working on a tank. It's about time. The woman in front of him wasn't an ordinary woman. She could guess that the tank on the carriage was a tank developed by Rema Group. Charlotte wasn't surprised at all. He didn't think that he would be able to fool my Hattori with just a few words. He was just trying to brush her off. Since you've already guessed it, why are you still asking me? Can you tell me about your tank? Charlotte laughed. I don't think we're friends. We're even enemies. I didn't expect you to be so casual and ask me about such a confidential matter. I'm curious. What makes you so confident? You owe me. I owe you? In France, you slept with me and stole my family's artificial intelligence technology. As for me, I got everything. Don't you owe me? Also, in India, you killed my brother. I didn't seek revenge from you, right? Don't you owe me? Charlotte said faintly, you should be glad that I didn't kill you in India. If that happens again, I promise you that I won't let you escape again. There was a flash of fear in my Hattori's eyes, but she quickly returned to normal. It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. Anyway, you're going to participate in the tank biathlon. You'd better bring maintenance tools, because this time your tank isn't facing Russian or Indian tank. You're facing the most advanced tank of Japan. The most advanced tank of Japan? Charlotte laughed. The tank is the king of the army. It's not as simple as making a gun. Let's wait and see. I'll let you taste failure. My Hattori was full of confidence. Charlotte said, you called me here just to say this? My Hattori suddenly came over and lowered her voice. Someone wants to see you. Charlotte was slightly stunned. Who? Wait, I'll arrange it. My Hattori turned and left. A disdainful smile appeared on the corner of Charlotte's mouth. He couldn't guess who the person she was talking about was, but he was sure that he wasn't interested at all.
You want to see me?
See your sister. Chapter 891. Arabino Shooting Range Barrack. Comrade Charlotte, that Japanese woman is a vixen. She's not a good woman, Huang, he said meaningfully in Charlotte's room. Charlotte smiled. Chief Huang, I know she's not a good woman. Thank you for reminding me. Huang, he looked serious. You're still young and impulsive in certain aspects. I'm here to remind you that you have to control yourself and not make any mistake. Charlotte nodded. Yeah, I'll definitely control myself. Fan is a good comrade. Don't do anything that will let her down. Don't let down the country's expectations of you. You have to be strict with your thoughts, Huang, he said. Charlotte was speechless. All right, you can rest now. You'll think I'm naggy if I talk too much, but I've been through it and I know more than you do, Huang, he said. Charlotte smiled. Chief Huang, don't worry. Do you think I'm the kind of man who would be easily fooled by a woman? Huang, he nodded with a serious expression. Yes, Comrade Fan told me to keep an eye on you. Charlotte was stunned on the spot. He didn't move an inch until Huang he left his room. How could Fan, that wastrel, tell a chief like Huang he to do something like that? She deserved a spanking. Charlotte moved to the balcony. He needed to use the cold Russian wind to sort out his messy emotions. Night came early in Russia. It was already dark not long after dinner. The cold wind was blowing, bringing with it dense snowflakes. His field of vision was covered in snow. A Japanese flag had been planted in the barracks opposite him. The blood-red color was especially eye-catching in the snow. Xia Lei's line of sight traversed a distance of nearly 30 meters as he scanned the windows of the opposite barracks, searching for Hattori and Hattori Masao. However, he didn't see my Hattori and Hattori Masao through all the windows until he shifted his gaze to the empty space where the tanks were parked. The open space was divided into many areas, and every participating country had a place to park their tank. China's Type 99 tank was parked in one of the empty spaces. However, unlike the tanks of other countries, which were parked in a row, China's tanks were parked in a circle. A dozen Type 99 tanks formed a circle, and in the middle was another tank, but that tank was covered with a thick military canvas. The military canvas covered it tightly, and it was impossible to see its appearance. The way it was parked made it look especially noble and different. It was like a king that was leading a group of 99 type. It was in that open space that Charlotte saw my Hattori Masao, and a few Indian soldiers. A mysterious tank had appeared in China's tank camp. India and Japan, which had a grudge against China, were naturally the most concerned about it. Charlotte's gaze cleared the swirling snowflakes and locked onto my Hattori Masao, and the Indian soldiers. Those people were talking in English. China loves to play this kind of mysterious game, doesn't it? An Indian officer smiled disdainfully. But in the end? Another Indian officer sneered. Their international ranking is still lower than ours. If we really go to war, our tank troops can reach Kyoto in less than a week. What's that tank in the middle of these Type 99 tanks? Is it an enhanced version of the Type 99? Another Indian officer said. So what if it is? The Type 99 tank's firepower is very strong, but a tank needs comprehensive strength, not just firepower. Mobility, wartime maintenance, electronic performance, and so on are also very important, and these are the shortcomings of the Type 99. So, even if it's an enhanced version, it won't be that strong. An Indian officer said. Miss Bailey, what do you think? The Indian officer who spoke first asked my Hattori. My Hattori said, it's covered and any guesses are meaningless. If I can see it, I might be able to give a very professional judgment. That's easy. An Indian soldier walked over to the Chinese soldier guarding the tank and said loudly, Hey, soldier, can you let us take a look at your new tank? The soldier guarding the tank was expressionless, his posture relaxed, and he held the Gale assault rifle in his hand tightly.
Hey, didn't you hear what I said?
The Indian officer who made the request was actually of a very high rank, and he had never received such a cold shoulder before. Seeing that the Chinese soldier was ignoring him, he felt a little embarrassed, and his tone became a little harsh. The Chinese soldier glanced at him and said in Mandarin, "Go away." What he actually wanted to say was, "Go away." What did he say? The Indian officer turned around and asked. My Hattori smiled. He said to let you go. Damn it. The Indian soldier reached out to grab the collar of the Chinese soldier. The Chinese soldier suddenly leveled the Gale assault rifle in his hand, and the muzzle was immediately aimed at the Indian officer. The Indian officer hurriedly retreated. He wanted to draw his gun, but in the end, he didn't finish it. Forget it, let's go. They like to play mysterious games, so let them play. Tomorrow we will beat them in the competition and give them a hard slap in the face, another Indian officer said. Several Indian officers left. Hattori Masao and my Hattori were still there. Charlotte is here. This tank must have something to do with Rema Group, Hattori Masao said. Hattori Masao finally spoke up. We must find a way to get information about this tank. It's very difficult, my Hattori said. They have sent soldiers to guard here on such a cold day, which shows that they attach great importance to the secrecy of this tank. However, as long as we enter the competition, it won't be difficult for us to get its performance parameters. Let's go. Hattori Masao also gave up. My Hattori took out her mobile phone and made a call as she walked. Charlotte is at the Arabino shooting range. When will you come? Okay, I will keep an eye on him. Please rest assured. With just one sentence, my Hattori hung up the phone. You should be very clear that Charlotte is not only the enemy of our Hattori family, but the existence of him and Rema Military Factory has threatened our strategic interests in Japan. Rema Military Factory has constantly improved the strength of China's army, and we are very worried about this. China's army is already very strong. Once it gets the high-tech weapons and equipment of Rema Group, China's army is likely to become the strongest army in Asia. At that time, the situation in Asia will change. That is absolutely not what we and the United States want to see. Hattori Masao's expression was very solemn. My Hattori said, compared to land weapons, I think we should be more worried about air weapons. Rema Group is just a military factory that researches and produces land weapons. How can it produce air weapons? You think too highly of Charlotte. He doesn't have the ability to research air weapons at all. My Hattori said, Father, Lockheed Martin Corporation has its own intelligence system. There is even a special secret department in the CIA that provides it with worldwide weapons intelligence. During this time, Lockheed Martin Corporation has obtained a lot of intelligence about Rema Group. Among them is Rema Group's new material project and artificial intelligence technology project. Once these two projects are successful, Rema Group won't be far from producing air weapons. Hattori Masao suddenly frowned. Father, don't forget that the current Rema Group is no longer the Rema Group of the past. Charlotte has obtained the intervention of China's national power. With China's current comprehensive national strength, the development of Rema Group will be immeasurable. Now, the United States has already regarded him as a national enemy that must be eliminated. In the Pentagon and the CIA, his danger level has even exceeded the previous Ben Aden. My Hattori said. Then he can't live even more. He killed your brother and at the same time is the #1 enemy of Japan and the United States. He can't be allowed to live no matter what. Hattori Masao's eyes were cold. My Hattori said, Father, we don't need to do this. Someone else will do it. We just need to deal with Charlotte and cooperate with that person's actions. Are you talking about a killer? You should be very clear that Charlotte came with the Northern Tank Corps this time. He has an army with him. Can a killer succeed? I don't know the plan. I'll tell you when I have new information, my Hattori said. The father and daughter walked and talked. Unknowingly, they approached the barrack. Charlotte didn't leave the balcony. He was on the third floor. He looked down at the father and daughter of the Belly family who were walking in the snow. He pondered in his heart, "Want to kill me? I'm not surprised, but I have an army with me. They want to make a move? That's crazy. A killer? Don't mess with me. I only have 2 years left to live. If I go crazy, you won't be able to handle it." My Hattori saw Charlotte standing on the balcony from the corner of her eye. She then nudged her father, hinting him to stop talking. Hattori Masao looked up at the balcony where Charlotte was. He didn't say anything, but his eyes were frighteningly cold. My Hattori showed a charming smile. "Mr. Xia, are you enjoying the snow? You're really in a good mood. Why don't you come down and I'll walk with you? It must be fun to walk in the snow." Charlotte smiled. "Forget it. We don't have an appointment." My Hattori showed a disappointed expression. "What a disappointment. Don't you miss me at all?" Charlotte said, "I'll give you two a word of advice. Living is the most important thing. Don't play with fire. Sometimes you'll burn yourself. Hattori Tsukihito is an example. Don't let yourself be the next one." My Hattori's face also darkened. She felt a chill down her spine. Hattori Masao raised his right hand and pointed at Charlotte. Then, he gently swiped it across his neck. Charlotte spread his hands. He wasn't surprised at this result. Chapter 892. It stopped snowing when the sun rose. After finishing the breakfast provided by the Russian officials, Charlotte followed Huang He and the others to the empty space where the tanks were parked. It was already a bustling scene. The tanks from India, Japan, and other participating countries were all preparing for the competition. Only China's side was very calm. No one was deliberately making any preparations. More than a dozen Type 99 tanks were still arranged in a circle, surrounding the huge tank in the middle. "Comrade Charlotte, are you confident?" Huang He asked, a little worried. Charlotte smiled. "Chief Huang, don't worry. Not to mention tanks from Asia and Eastern Europe. Even if the tanks from Europe and America came, they would have to kneel." Huang He suddenly smiled. He patted Charlotte's shoulder. "I'm relieved to hear that. However, the ZTZ-100 is a brand new tank. My tank hands haven't even touched it before. You'll have to drive it yourself. I'll give you 2 assistants, the best assistants." However, Charlotte said, "No need. I alone am enough." Huang He said in surprise, "Alone? How is that possible?" Charlotte smiled. "Chief Huang, it's a highly intelligent tank. It's 90% information-based. I can operate the remaining 10% without a problem. Doesn't it need to be loaded? It has an automatic loading mechanism and can choose a type of ammunition according to my instructions. Including the machine guns on the turret, they are all automatically controlled," Charlotte said. "I can't wait to see it gallop on the battlefield and show off its might." Huang He said excitedly. "Since you said one person can do it, then one person it is." Huang He gave the order. A group of tank soldiers climbed onto the Type 99 tank and then drove the Type 99 tank to the competition venue in a circle. "Are the Chinese going to carry on with their mysticism to the end?" a Japanese soldier said. His voice was very loud. It was possible that he deliberately wanted the Chinese soldiers to hear him. "I reckon that the tank will be covered with canvas and shipped back to China until the end of this competition." "Haha. I suspect it's a tank model." "So what if it's true? China's tanks are not like that. They look fierce, but they are very backward. They don't even have a decent engine. Yes, if we were to fight on the battlefield, I'm sure that one Type 10 can kill 3 Type 99s. A group of Japanese soldiers were chatting and laughing. They were speaking in Japanese and appeared somewhat unscrupulous. But Charlotte heard it clearly, but he didn't bother with a group of Japanese soldiers. He searched for my Hattori and Hattori Masao among the Japanese soldiers and soon found the father and daughter. Hattori Masao and my Hattori obviously heard the Japanese soldiers' discussion, but they didn't interfere. The father and daughter's eyes were focused on Charlotte and the ZTZ-100 main battle tank covered in canvas, waiting to see its true appearance. Huang he had a few SWAT guards untie the ropes that tied the canvas and take it off. The moment the canvas was taken off, all eyes were focused on the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. With a length of 12 meters including the gun barrel and a width of nearly 4 meters, it made the Japanese Type 10 and Indian Arjun tanks in the same open space look like malnourished African children. Coupled with the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's sci-fi design, it gave people a visual shock, as if they had seen an alien weapon fall from the sky. Wow! The Japanese soldiers who were mocking the ZTZ-100 main battle tank for being a tank model couldn't help but exclaim. So big! It looks much bigger than the American M1A3 main battle tank. This should be the biggest tank in the world, right? What's the use of being big? It's just a shell. I'm sure the space inside is big enough for us to eat barbecue. I hope their engine has such a big shell. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing. Such a big tank and the engine is weak. Do you think it can run 30 kilometers? Ha ha ha, amidst the laughter, my Hattori took out her mobile phone and took pictures of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Charlotte didn't stop her. He had brought the ZTZ-100 main battle tank here to let the whole world know about it. He just glanced at my Hattori before climbing into the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Could the internal space of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank accommodate a few people to eat barbecue together? On the contrary, its internal space was filled with electronic instruments and automatic devices, and it could barely accommodate 3 operators. However, if Charlotte operated it alone, the space was a little big. After Charlotte entered the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank quickly started up with a roar. It slowly drove towards the competition venue, and it really did look like it was out of power. Sure enough, such a tank is like a pony pulling a big cart. It can't run at all on the battlefield and is simply a live target. Only China would build such a strange thing, right? Their media will definitely brag about it. Just wait and see, their media will brag about this new type of tank to the sky. The Indian soldiers were also looking at them with cold eyes and ridicule. At this moment, a short white man walked into the group of Japanese soldiers. He was wearing a Japanese military uniform, but it was obvious that he was a white man. The short white man walked to my Hattori's side and didn't say anything. He just glanced at my Hattori. My Hattori also didn't say anything and just nodded. Hattori Masao waved his hand, then the 2 Japanese soldiers nodded at the same time and walked toward the 2 Type 10 tanks respectively. The short white man also walked toward an upgraded version of the Type 10 tank. After that, the Japanese tanks also started up one after another and drove toward the competition venue. Then, it was the tanks of India and other countries. This scene was like a torrent of steel, it could make a man's adrenaline surge. My Hattori posted the photos she had taken of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank to the public. Is this for Miss Forson? Hattori Masao asked. My Hattori nodded gently. Yes, the Rema Group's movements have affected the nerves of the Lockheed Martin Corporation's senior management, and of course, the people in the White House and the Pentagon. If you know this, you will understand how much they want to kill Charlotte. The corner of Hattori Masao's mouth showed a trace of a sneer. He will die. Let's go, father, let's go and see. My Hattori said with a smile. I really want to see how the Rema Group's tanks will perform. Flashy but impractical. Hattori Masao said disdainfully. Such a big tank, so slow, it is simply a fat and clumsy target on the battlefield. Tanks gathered on the ground of the competition venue. A large Russian Air Force transport plane whizzed past at low altitude, sprinkling water on the tanks on the ground. This was the scenery of the Russian tank biathlon. Then, the Russian-led referee team entered the venue, and the competition entered the countdown stage. Huang He was also invited to the observation platform to watch. Hattori Masao, my Hattori, and other officials from the other participating countries were also on the stage with him. The competition had not yet begun, but some discussions about the ZTZ-100 main battle tank were quickly heating up. A Russian official pointed to the ZTZ-100 main battle tank parked at the starting point and said, "What tank is that? When did Russia provide China with this tank technology?" "I don't know, maybe the technology was sold by Ukraine. Such a big tank, it is really our Russian style, but I don't know if it can run 60 kilometers. The translator translated the discussion of the Russian officials to Huang He, who frowned. "These guys are really looking down on us. Tell them that that is the main battle tank developed by China's Rema Group. It is the most advanced tank in the world." "Do we really have to say that?" The translator was a little hesitant. "Say it. This is an order." Huang He was very unhappy. The dignity of a soldier could not be offended by others. The translator translated Huang He's words into Russian to the Russian officials. Several Russian officials applauded and expressed their approval. However, it was not difficult to see the contempt and arrogance in their expressions. China's national defense had relied on Russian weapons and technology for a long time, and these Russian officials had long formed a subjective consciousness of looking down on China's military industry. In their opinion, no matter what weapons China produced, it could not be separated from Russian technology. People from other countries also discussed in low voices, but they were very quiet, as if they did not want to provoke the hot-tempered Huang He. A few minutes later, a Russian official announced the start of the competition. As a signal flare exploded in the air, the participating tanks of several countries rushed out of the starting point and sprinted toward the rugged terrain of the venue. "I bet that the so-called new China tank will be left behind by 10 kilometers, an Indian official said. His remarks immediately caused a burst of laughter. He spoke in Hindi, and only the few Indians with him could understand him. However, just as they were laughing, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, which was a beat slower, suddenly roared and rushed forward with a whoosh. The huge vehicle rolled up the snow on the ground, causing it to move forward like a white whirlwind. In the blink of an eye, whether it was India's Arjun tank, Japan's Type 10 tank, or even Russia's T-90 tank, they were all left behind. On the spectator's stand, Hattori Masao, who was originally sitting, suddenly stood up. His eyes were wide open as he stared at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank that Charlotte was driving. Is Charlotte driving it alone? I didn't see an assistant enter the tank. It should be. My Hattori also stood up, her heart filled with shock. She was familiar with artificial intelligence technology, so of course she knew what it meant. It meant that the ZTZ-100 main battle tank had unimaginable automation technology. More people stood up. But this was just the beginning. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank galloped forward with snowflakes in its wake. The rugged terrain was like flat ground under its tracks. Other tanks needed to be careful to climb up a 45-degree slope, but it didn't even slow down on the accelerator. What was even more terrifying was that it weighed 65 tons, but it could still leap over the top of a steep slope like a car. With 2,500 horsepower, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was simply the Lamborghini sports car of World of Tanks. Chapter 893. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank led the way in the complex terrain that was deliberately designed for the competition. With its sci-fi design, massive size, and unstoppable momentum, it was truly the king of tanks. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank was getting further and further away. In the last competition, Russia's T-90 main battle tank won with a time of 75 minutes and 13 seconds, while China finished third with a time of 90 minutes and 30 seconds. That time, Japan's Type 10 tank did not even participate. If Japan's Type 10 tank had participated in the last competition, China would have had no chance of winning at all. Before the competition this time, some people predicted that the first and second place would be between Japan and Russia, while India would secure third place and China would not be able to win at all. But now, in just a few minutes, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank had left the top three teams behind by more than a kilometer. This was a vicious slap in the face, a crushing victory. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank had left all the other countries in the dust. To the other countries, this competition was already over. The worst part was that the general of China's tank corps was still making enemies. Ha ha ha! Huang He laughed out loud. With one hand on his waist, he pointed at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank and said sarcastically, "Do you see that? Do you see that? That's China's tank. But remember, this is a new generation main battle tank developed by China's Rema Group. Someone said that we obtained the technology from someone in Ukraine. Let me ask him, who in Ukraine is capable of making a tank like this?" He paused for a moment and then said in a louder voice, "Let's not talk about Asia, even America and Germany can't make a tank like this." The United States and Germany were the most powerful countries in the military industry. Even Russia could not compare to them, let alone countries like India and Japan. Take tanks for example. America's M1A3 was already considered the future king of land battles. The Leopard 2 tank had also won countless awards. Japan, India, and Russia's tanks could not even compare to Germany's. But now, a general from China said in front of senior officials and military personnel from Japan, India, and Russia that not even a tank from Germany could compare, let alone a tank from an Asian country. This was tantamount to a slap in the face. Although Huang He was speaking in Chinese, his words were quickly translated into various languages and entered the ears of the officials and soldiers of different countries. Soon, someone couldn't hold it in anymore and stood out to speak. "General Huang, your ZTZ-100 main battle tank is only fast. That doesn't mean that your tank is the most advanced tank in the world, right? Let's not even talk about comparing it to the American and German tank. The American and German tanks had been proven through actual battles. What glory did your ZTZ-100 main battle tank get? Or what battlefield?" a Japanese officer said sarcastically. He translated the Japanese officer's words to Huang He. Huang He then said, "Didn't you say that those who run slowly are nothing but a pile of scrap metal and a target? Why did it change when it came to your side? You obviously have double standards." The Japanese officer was speechless. It didn't feel good that someone from his own side was using his own words against him. The Japanese officers were rendered speechless, not to mention the Indian officers. This was because their Arjun tank players would need binoculars to see where the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was on the field. My Hattori walked over with a beautiful smile on her face. "General Huang, I saw that Charlotte was the only one who got on the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Is he the only one driving it?" Huang He looked at Mai Hattori cautiously. "What do you want to know?" Mai Hattori said politely, "General Huang, please don't misunderstand. I just want to know if Charlotte is the only one driving the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. He and I are good friends and I am proud of him. You want to know how automated the ZTZ-100 is, right?" Huang He sneered. "But I can tell you that the ZTZ-100 is 90% automated. Not to mention driving alone in a competition like this, even if it's on the battlefield, one person can operate alone." Huang He's words were translated again. Jaws dropped to the ground on the observation platform. 90% automated? What did that mean? It meant that the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was like a military robot. If that was true, even the most advanced M1A3 tank in the world would be left in the dust, let alone the Japanese, Indian, and Russian tanks. After a short silence, one of the Russian officers said, "General Huang, the ZTZ-100's automation and mobility are amazing. However, a good tank also needs to have good firepower. How does the ZTZ-100 perform in this regard?" He chuckled. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank uses a 150mm smoothbore cannon, which is currently the largest caliber tank main cannon in the world. Its range is even greater than the M1A3 tank. As for its accuracy, why would Rema Group's cannon need to worry about accuracy? Rema Group owned the world's most advanced integrated intelligent lathe, the Thunder Dragon Intelligent Lathe, and the second generation of the Thunder Dragon Intelligent Lathe. Haha! The Russian officer laughed dryly. I hope the ZTZ-100 main battle tank can do well in the second stage of the competition. Huang he didn't even want to talk to him. Which one of the people present here was willing to see the Hua nation become stronger? China had ruled Asia for thousands of years and was bullied at the end of the Qing dynasty. However, a dragon was still a dragon. Once it gathered enough strength, it would still be the king of Asia. The observation platform was filled with discussions. When did China produce such a tank? How is that possible? Charlotte's Rema Group. That bastard and his military factory shouldn't exist in this world. I don't dare to imagine. If China's army is fully equipped with such a tank, no one in Asia would dare to fight a land war with China. If they've produced it and brought it here, they must be replacing it. Who wouldn't want such a good tank? What is Rema Group doing? They've produced the XL 2500 sniper rifle, the Gust assault rifle, and the Hellbound one-soldier cannon. These are the best infantry weapons. Not only that, they've also produced the Sweeper infantry fighting vehicle and the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. If this continues, who would dare to fight a war with China? If the Americans know about the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, they won't be able to sit still. The reason they surround China is because of their military superiority. However, Rema Group is quickly closing the gap. Once the Americans lose their military superiority over China, I'm afraid the world will change, let alone Asia. These discussions appeared in the mouths of the representatives of different countries. Huang he was extremely proud of himself. My Hattori walked to a secluded corner and made a phone call. "It's me, Beryl. Madam Folsom, the situation is very bad. According to my preliminary analysis, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's overall performance has surpassed that of the M1A3 main battle tank. It's not just by a little, it's by a lot on the field." The ZTZ-100 main battle tank continued its legend. No other country's tanks could be seen behind it, only aerial helicopters could be seen. Without an opponent, the king of tanks was lonely. Being invincible was the loneliest. 40 minutes later, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank passed the entire course and entered the second stage of the competition. The Russian T-90 tank that won the last tank biathlon took 75 minutes and 13 seconds, while the ZTZ-100 only took 40 minutes and 1 second. Charlotte's 1 second was delayed because he was scratching an itch. Beep beep beep, beep beep beep. While waiting for the opponent, the satellite phone rang. Charlotte picked up the phone. "It's me, speak. Boss, I found her." Sarim's voice rang out. Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. "How is she?" Siamu paused for a moment before continuing, "She's scary." Charlotte was worried about Zhu Xianyue, but when he heard Siamu say she's scary, he changed his target. "Don't go near her. Remember, don't go near her. If she discovers you and threatens you, mention me to her. Do you understand? **T, where would I get the chance to go near her?" Siamu smiled bitterly. I'm calling you to tell you about a terrible situation. I lost track of her. The person I sent to follow her slept on the side of the road. When I found him, he didn't know anything. He didn't even know who he was. This is too scary. Charlotte said, Don't look for her, come back. But, it's decided. I don't want anything to happen to you. Charlotte made the decision. Okay, I'll talk to you when I come back. Siamu hung up the phone. Charlotte couldn't help but think of Zhu Xuanyue's face. She smiled at him, that smile full of innocence, but in the blink of an eye, she turned into a man-eating demon. Half an hour later, the other country's tanks finished the first stage of the competition and entered the second stage. In the second stage of the competition, the new king of the world of tanks was already impatient. The referee and special guests team chat moved to the second stage of the competition, preparing for the second stage of the competition. The second stage was a simulated battle competition. All the content was related to actual battle. All the participants were actively preparing for the competition, cheering for them, and so on. Charlotte climbed out of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank and stretched his back on the turret. His gaze suddenly fell on the side of a Type 10 tank, and he saw a Caucasian face. He was curious. Japan's self-defense forces have started recruiting Caucasian soldiers? Or is this guy a tank operator from the U.S. Army stationed in Japan? Huang He walked over. His voice was heard before his body. Haha, Comrade Charlotte, well done. Charlotte retracted his gaze and said with a smile, Officer Huang, you have to urge the higher-ups to place more orders. I'll build you a tank. Huang He glared at Xiaolei. What the hell are you talking about? If the higher-ups don't place the order, I'll fall out with them. Charlotte also smiled. In fact, after getting rid of Yu Shanhe, there was almost no one in China who could compete with him. Orders were not a problem. Huang He said, Comrade Charlotte, the second stage of the competition allows many tanks to participate. But I've decided not to let Type 99 participate. This is a stage to show off your ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Type 99 won't be joining in the fun. Do a good job and show them what you're made of. Haha, sure. Charlotte laughed. You still don't need me to send someone to help you? No, I can handle it myself, Charlotte said. On the observation platform, Hattori Mei stared intently at Xiaolei. The corners of her lips curled into a faint smile. Chapter 894. Boom! With the sound of a cannon, the target 1 kilometer away was blown to pieces by the shell fired by the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. The 150 mm main cannon was the largest caliber of a tank's main cannon, and its power was needless to say. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank's shell could tear through the opponent's protective armor, but the opponent's shell could hardly tear through its armor. Moreover, its ceramic reactive armor could withstand a 155 mm caliber main cannon from 1 kilometer away. Even the main cannon of the American M1A3 main battle tank was only 140 mm caliber, and the M1A3 main battle tank's ceramic reactive armor could only withstand a 144 mm caliber main cannon attack. In other words, even if the A1A3 main battle tank and the ZTZ-100 main battle tank fought, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank would be able to overturn the opponent with one shot, and the opponent would not be able to tear through the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's ceramic reactive armor. Boom, 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 boom. With 4 consecutive cannon shots, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank fired 5 rounds in almost 30 seconds, hitting 5 targets that had to be hit. Moreover, this included the time needed for the turret to adjust. As for locking onto the 5 targets that had already been destroyed, it was a piece of cake. Charlotte did not have to worry about that at all. The radar and fire control system took care of this operation for him. The smoke from the explosion had not yet dispersed, and a heated discussion was stirred up on the viewing platform. How is this possible? It's impossible for one person to hit 5 targets in 30 seconds, even with the automatic ammunition feeding device, right? Accurately hitting a target from 2 kilometers away, what's the difference between that and a sniper rifle? I suspect that even the American M1A3A main battle tank would not be able to beat China's ZTZ-100 main battle tank here. Does this mean that a new king of tanks has been born? From the initial doubts to the first stage of shock, to the second stage, these people had already been convinced. Although they were unwilling to accept it, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was right in front of them. It was an incomparably powerful fact, and they had no choice but to accept it. These remarks were translated into Yellow River's ears. Yellow River was very proud. In the past, China had to beg for help to buy weapons and technologies from Russia. Furthermore, Russia only sells outdated and advanced weapons and technologies. No matter how much money was offered, Russia would not sell them. Why? He just didn't want China to become stronger. China bought outdated equipment and technology to upgrade themselves, but the other side said that China was copying their technology. All kinds of grievances, all kinds of bullying. But now it was different. The Rema Group had allowed China's military industry to take off. Not to mention Russia's technology, even America's technology had to stand aside. How could Yellow River, a soldier, not be proud when such a fact was placed in front of him and such glory was added to him? Rumble, rumble on the shooting range, tanks from other countries were also shooting at target. However, compared to the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, the difference between their strength and that of a child and a professional boxer was like the difference between a child and a professional boxer. Hattori Masao's face was gloomy as he looked at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank on the shooting range. His expression was very complicated. As an enemy country, he didn't want to see China have such an outstanding tank. At this time, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank that had finished shooting at the moving targets stopped. Hattori Masao suddenly glanced at my Hattori, who was standing behind him. My Hattori nodded, then raised her wrist and said to the watch on her wrist, "We can begin." On the shooting range, the 3 Type 10 tanks suddenly moved towards the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, intentionally or unintentionally. Soon, they formed a triangle and surrounded the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. When the siege was completed, the 3 Type 10 tanks aimed their muzzles at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. In the tank, the alarm suddenly sounded, and the system voice also sounded. "You have been locked on. You have been locked on." At the same time, a 3-dimensional image appeared on the radar terminal. The 3 Type 10 tanks appeared on the display, and each tank was rendered red by the system. In the cockpit, the face of the Caucasian tank soldier suddenly appeared in Charlotte's mind. A signal of impending danger also appeared in his mind. He fiercely stepped on the accelerator, and the ZTZ-100 main battle tank suddenly went from a stationary state to a sprinting state. The huge body of the tank was like an athlete starting a race, kicking up a large amount of soil and then leaping forward. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the ZTZ-100 main battle tank entered sprinting mode, the 3 Type 10 tanks fired at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank at the same time. Rumble. A shell hit the left side of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's ceramic reactive armor, and another shell hit the right side of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's ceramic reactive armor. One of the shells missed and hit the ground, sending up a cloud of soil and rock. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank was hit by 2 shells, but it did not stop. In fact, it did not even slow down in the slightest. If it were any other tank, it would definitely be destroyed after being hit by 2 shells from a tank's main cannon. Raging flames started burning on the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, But it only took a few seconds for the ZTZ-100 main battle tank's automatic fire extinguishing system to put out the fire. On the observation platform, except for a few Japanese, everyone was stunned. Motherf ****. What are you guys doing? Huang He jumped up and rushed toward Hattori Masao. Several Japanese officers stood in front of Hattori Masao, blocking his path. The interpreter also hugged Huang He. It must have been a misfire. My Hattori came out to explain, looking very anxious. Yes, it must have been a misfire. Hattori Masao gave the same explanation. Misunderstand your mother ****. Huang He exploded. You guys are declaring war. You guys are declaring war. We will accompany you to the end. General Huang, please allow us to investigate this thoroughly. We will definitely give you a satisfactory explanation. The Russian officer also came out to explain. On the shooting range, the 3 Type 10 tanks did not chase after the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, nor did they fire a second shot at it. The hatch of one of the tanks opened, and a Japanese tank soldier climbed out of the cockpit, waving his helmet non-stop. All the signs pointed to an accident, and there was a possibility of a misfire. As for why all 3 tanks misfired at the same time, who cared? Look, our tank soldier is signing. This is really a misunderstanding. My Hattori forced herself to explain. She did not realize that her forehead was already covered in cold sweat. Good. Good. Misfire, right? Let our soldiers get on the tank. Let's give them an even bigger misunderstanding. Huang He roared. Please don't. The Russian officer panicked. I won't listen to anyone's explanation. Huang He had already lost control of his emotions. A ZTZ-100 main battle tank was actually nothing. What was important was Charlotte in the tank. Charlotte was the wings of China's military industry. What the Japanese had done was equivalent to breaking the wings of China's military industry. This was intolerable. A Russian officer suddenly roared, "This is Russian territory. If you want to fight, please go to your own territory. If you don't listen, then it's a declaration of war against Russia. I will immediately send anti-tank troops into the field. It's not like we haven't fought before." Huang He roared. You! That Russian officer was furious. Start a war with China? Even the United States did not have such a temper, let alone Russia, which was suffering from sanctions. Without China's support, Russia's situation would be several times worse than it was now. However, after venting his anger, Huang He gradually calmed down. He did not order his soldiers to get on the tank for revenge. He had to take responsibility for his position. He was a general of China. He had to ask for instructions on who to fire at. Seeing that Huang He had calmed down, Hattori Masao hurriedly said, Yes. This was all a misunderstanding. I promise I will investigate the matter thoroughly and give you a satisfactory explanation. Huang He looked at Hattori Masao coldly and did not say a word. My Hattori heaved a sigh of relief. She reached out to wipe the cold sweat off her forehead. She shifted her gaze to the shooting range. At that moment, the ZTZ-100 main battle tank that had been hit by 2 shells had turned around and returned. The Japanese soldier standing on top of the Type 10 tank waved his helmet at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank and shouted loudly. Without needing to hear his voice, one could guess that he was explaining to the ZTZ-100 main battle tank that what had just happened was a misunderstanding. Charlotte, why aren't you dead? My Hattori cursed in her heart. However, just as she finished her ventriloquism, the advancing ZTZ-100 main battle tank suddenly shook. Boom! A shell was fired from the 150mm main cannon. Boom! The soldier standing on top of the Type 10 tank was instantly torn to shreds. Not even a palm-sized piece of flesh could be found. The turret of the Type 10 tank under his feet was directly blown away. Then came the explosion inside the tank. The violent explosion was so deafening that even the ground was shaking. Hattori Masao jumped up. He actually dared to fire at our tanks and soldiers. As soon as he finished speaking, boom! Another shot was fired. The second Type 10 tank that had fired at the ZTZ-100 main battle tank was hit. The furious armor-piercing shell broke through the front armor and steel plates of the Type 10 tank and exploded after piercing into the cockpit. The remaining tank started up and fled to the side. "Quick! Tell him to stop!" Hattori Masao roared at Huang He. Huang He shrugged. "He's not my soldier. I can't order him to do anything. Why are you so nervous? I think it's just an accident. Don't worry, we'll definitely give you a satisfactory explanation." My Hattori rushed to the observation platform. She wanted to do something, but she pulled back just as she was about to step off the stage. If she appeared in Charlotte's field of vision, what would Charlotte do? The answer was obvious. It was just an artillery shell. The enhanced Type 10 tank was running away on the shooting range. Its performance was better than the other two Type 10 tanks. But compared to the ZTZ-100 main battle tank, it was a far cry. It wanted to escape, but the ZTZ-100 main battle tank caught up to it in just 2 minutes. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank's turret moved and locked onto the escaping Type 10 tank. "Tell him to stop!" Hattori Masao roared. Huang He looked at the tank on the shooting range calmly. He didn't even look at Hattori Masao. Boom! The Type 10 tank exploded, and flames soared into the sky. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank stopped. Charlotte picked up the Russian participant's communication device and cleared his throat before saying, "This is a misunderstanding." However, Charlotte had turned the 3 Type 10 tanks into 3 piles of scrap metal, and even killed 9 Japanese tank soldiers. Therefore, even if the other party was in the wrong, Charlotte personally sought justice. There would be no benefit in continuing to make trouble. "Comrade Charlotte, let's go," Huang He said to Charlotte. Charlotte nodded, and before leaving, he looked back at my Hattori and Hattori Masao. Hattori Masao looked at him coldly. My Hattori and Charlotte looked at each other, and then avoided Charlotte's gaze. Her back was cold, and Charlotte's gaze was terrifying, which made her inexplicably nervous and afraid. Charlotte left with Huang He, and China's tanks also withdrew, including the heavily damaged ZTZ-100 main battle tank. Hattori Masao pulled my Hattori down from the observation deck. "What's going on? Didn't you say that your plan would definitely succeed? How did it fail?" My Hattori said, "If he was driving a Type 99 tank, he would have died on the shooting range. Father, you saw it with your own eyes. 3 tanks attacked the ZTZ-100 at the same time, and 2 of them hit, but it was still able to fight. How can you blame my plan? We can only blame ourselves for knowing too little about the ZTZ-100 main battle tank." "Damn it!" Hattori Masao clenched his fist, and then punched a steel pipe on the steel frame. A trace of blood flowed from his fist. My Hattori held Hattori Masao's fist. "Father, I didn't want it to be like this. This plan was finalized by the Americans, and the assassin was also from the U.S. military. We all thought that this was the best way to kill Charlotte, because that tank was equivalent to an iron cage. But we didn't expect that iron cage to be so tough that even 2 shells couldn't kill it. Isn't there any other assassination plan? Are you talking about killing him at another time? That's too difficult. He's the world's most powerful sniper. The Americans have already lost hundreds of elite agents and special forces in order to capture and kill him. If they could do it, they would have done it a long time ago. Moreover, this time, it wasn't just a few bodyguards following Charlotte, but an entire army." Hattori Masao was silent. He was actually very clear that it was almost impossible to kill Charlotte, who was protected by an army. Moreover, if they made a move again and angered Charlotte, Who could guarantee that he wouldn't do something crazy? What happened just now was an example. In front of so many participating teams from so many countries, he actually dared to kill 3 Japanese tanks. Father, don't worry. Since the Americans are determined to get rid of him, he won't live for long. Ben Aden is an example. Wasn't he still killed by the Americans? My Hattori said. Hattori Masao nodded. Get ready, we're going back to Japan. Half an hour later, in the barracks. My Hattori and Hattori Masao were surrounded by a group of Japanese soldiers as they walked towards the barracks where the Japanese soldiers lived. Everything was normal when they left, but now there were hundreds of Russian special forces guarding this place. The target of Russia's protection was obviously not the Japanese, but Charlotte. Miss Mai. Charlotte's voice suddenly came from above. My Hattori looked up and saw Charlotte standing on the balcony. Charlotte was using a cloth soaked in oil to wipe an XL 2500 sniper rifle. The sniper rifle was deep black and seemed colder than the Russian weather. My Hattori forced a smile. Mr. Xia, hello. What did you call me for? Didn't you tell me that someone wanted to see me? Where is he? Look, I've prepared a gift for him. Charlotte suddenly raised the XL 2500 sniper rifle and aimed at Hattori Masao. Hattori Masao's guards suddenly rushed forward and surrounded Hattori Masao, using their bodies to block his path. There were also Japanese soldiers who pulled out their guns and aimed at Xiaolei from below. The air seemed to freeze, and a spark would cause an explosion. What are you doing? Put down your guns. A Russian Special Forces officer shouted. Whoosh! Hundreds of Russian Special Forces raised their guns and aimed at the Japanese. The Japanese reluctantly put down their guns. The Russian officer pretended not to see the XL 2500 sniper rifle in Charlotte's hand. The Japanese couldn't stand up straight in front of the Russians. The 4 northern islands were like shark fins stuck in the Japanese's throat. They couldn't swallow it or spit it out. Every time the Russians moved, they were in excruciating pain. The United States dominated the world, but they wouldn't help the Japanese take back the 4 northern islands. In fact, it wasn't difficult to see the nature of the so-called Japan-US alliance. Charlotte. My Hattori swallowed her saliva, then braced herself and said, You should know what will happen if you shoot. Who knows, World War III might be born under your fingers. This wasn't an exaggeration, because Hattori Masao was a general in the Japanese self-defense forces. His rank was similar to Yellow River's. It was hard to say if a war would break out if such a high-ranking general were to be shot, but the trouble would be unimaginable. Charlotte slowly put away the XL 2500 sniper rifle and smiled. I'm just testing the gun. I won't shoot. Even if I do shoot, I won't do it in front of so many people, right? Humph. Do you dare to assassinate me? Hattori Masao said angrily. You wouldn't dare even if I gave you the courage. Charlotte's voice turned cold. Wouldn't dare? Then we'll see. You wanted to kill me today. If it wasn't for the thick armor of my ZTZ-100 main battle tank, I would have died in your hands. I really didn't expect you to choose this time to attack me. It's not difficult to see how strong your desire for me to die is. Well, since you want to kill me so much, won't I disappoint you if I don't do something? Hattori Masao felt a chill in his heart. As long as he thought of my Hattori's description of Charlotte, the world's most powerful sniper, he couldn't help but feel guilty and afraid. Charlotte, my Hattori said, this is a misunderstanding. This is what the Americans want. It has nothing to do with us. My father and I still haven't figured out what's going on. You've already killed those people, what else can you do? The debt between me and your family will be settled sooner or later. I'm not in a hurry today or tomorrow. There will be a day, but it won't be too long, Charlotte said. This matter really has nothing to do with my Hattori family. What do you want me to do to make you believe me? My Hattori looked at Charlotte with eager eyes. Charlotte waved at her. Come up, let's talk. If you really have a story to convince me, I'm willing to believe it. My Hattori seemed to be a little moved. She took a step in the direction of the barracks where Charlotte was. But it was just one step. She stepped back and shook her head. You've lost your mind now. I can't be alone with you. I'd better answer your previous question. I didn't lie to you. The person who wants to see you is the CEO of Lockheed Martin Corporation, Miss Fossen. She was supposed to come here tonight, but in view of what happened here and your mental condition, I'll inform her to make another appointment. Why does she want to see me? I don't know, but I think she'll give you an answer. Wait for her call. My Hattori turned around and left. Charlotte's eyes gradually turned cold as he watched a group of Japanese people walk into the barracks across from him. He thought of Zhu Xianyue again. If his little princess was here, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to get rid of these Japanese with just a few words? Ms. Fossen of Lockheed Martin Corporation wants to see you? Huang He walked from behind Charlotte to the balcony. The weasel is paying a visit to the chicken. She's up to no good. She thinks she can see me just because she wants to. Charlotte sneered. She thinks too highly of herself. Let's go back to China. I don't want to play this bullshit tank competition anymore. Your safety is the most important thing, Huang He said. Charlotte replied, let's go back to China. Chapter 896. What happened at the Arabino shooting range was earth-shattering, but there wasn't a single media outlet in the world that reported it. The Japanese lost 3 Type 10 tanks and 9 people, but they wouldn't ask China for an explanation. On the contrary, they were afraid that China would ask them for an explanation. After all, 3 tanks fired at the ZTZ-100 at the same time. Who would believe that it was an accident? China wouldn't ask Japan for an explanation for what happened at the Arabino shooting range. It was foreseeable that the best result would be an apology, which wouldn't mean much to the matter that had already ended. What's more, Charlotte had killed 3 of the enemy's tanks, and it was almost an execution. If they were to quarrel with the Japanese, the enemy could use this matter to argue with China. As for Charlotte, he didn't take this matter to heart at all. After returning to China, he started to repair the ZTZ-100 main battle tank and put forward suggestions to rectify some of the shortcomings. For the Rema Group, what happened at the Arabino shooting range was actually a good thing, because it was equivalent to a real battle, and it tested the comprehensive combat ability of the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank was the product of the Rema Group's most advanced technology. On the battlefield, the data and information collected from the incident at the Arabino shooting range were very important to know where it was lacking and where it should be improved. On the second day after returning to China, Siamu also returned from the United States. Charlotte met him in a secret room in the Peace House. He and Siamu were talking in the secret room, and 4 blonde beauties were standing outside the door. They were Giovanna and Stella from the Gray family, and Rosa and Teresa from the Russo family. They had recovered from their injuries and were officially members of the Zodiac fighting team. However, their main task was to protect Charlotte and the people around Charlotte. So, rather than saying that they were members of the Zodiac squad, it would be more accurate to say that they were knights protecting Charlotte. In the secret chamber, Charlotte cut to the chase. Still no news of her? Siamu shook his head. No. After we talked last time, I tried to find her again. I even used some informants, but there was no result in the end. She was last seen in Washington, but she's clearly not in Washington anymore. Charlotte thought of Langley, but he didn't dare to send Siamu there to do intelligence work. That was the lair of the CIB, a forbidden place for spies and secret agents. Also, I got a very strange piece of information while I was in the United States. What information? Charlotte collected his thoughts. There have been several strange deaths in Washington, said Siamu. The death toll is already in the dozens. Initially, the police suspected that it was a terrorist attack and that someone had used nerve gas. However, they didn't announce the progress of the investigation, and those cases went silent. Strange death. When Charlotte heard the word, he thought of Zhu Xianyue. He knew that Zhu Xianyue did it even without the investigation results from the U.S. Intelligence Department and the police. But what's even more strange is that the dead were gangsters and drug dealers. They were all scum. Some U.S. media even described the mysterious murderer as a hero, similar to Captain America, Iron Man, or Green Arrow. However, they didn't even know whether the hero was a man or a woman. Some media said it was a man, and some said it was a woman, but so far there is no unified gender, said Siamu. Charlotte secretly said in his heart, "She only kills bad people. Is it because of me? I scolded her, and she knows that she did something wrong? If that's the case, she's actually not as evil as I thought." That's all. There was a look of shame on Siamu's face. "Boss, you asked me to do something, but I lost her." Charlotte smiled. "It's none of your business. Not to mention you, even if it was me, I would have lost her if I were to spy on her. Well, that's it. You go back first. Then I have a new mission for you." "What mission?" "The FA organization." Charlotte said, "The Knights Hospitaller have been hit hard. Without the threat of the Knights Hospitaller, the FA organization will definitely take action. I want to know its movements, so you have to try your best to collect information about the FA organization." "Okay, I'll go back and ask my informants to do their work," said Siamu. Siamu left, but Charlotte was still in a daze in the secret room. There was a figure in his mind that he couldn't get rid of, Zhu Xianyue. When Siamu told him that Zhu Xianyue only killed bad people, he had the urge to find her and bring her back. But now that he calmed down and thought about it, he suppressed that urge. Zhu Xianyue is back? The question he had to face was whether there were that many bad people in Whitestag and the capital for her to eat. As for her, there were always times when she was hungry. Compared to the stable environment in China, America, with its open access to firearms, had more food. The more she eats, the more energy she gathers. Will she return to normal? If she does, what will she be like? Will she be my friend or foe? Charlotte wasn't sure about that. The door to the secret room opened and 4 female knights walked in. The secret chamber was suddenly filled with an enchanting fragrance. It wasn't just one type of fragrance. There was the fragrance of roses, lavender, osmanthus, and jasmine. The scent of all those perfumes mixed together, and was especially strong in the enclosed space. The 4 female knights, the sisters of the Grey family and the sisters of the Rousseau family, were all dressed in black women's suits, and all of them looked like professionals. The form-fitting clothes outlined their curvaceous figures, making them look sexy and alluring. They didn't look like knights or bodyguards at all. Instead, they looked more like 4 female secretaries. Charlotte couldn't continue his train of thought. He smiled. "You smell so good. When did you buy the perfume?" "Taubau," said Giovanna. "We used your cook's account to buy it," said Stella. 10 for a bottle," said Therese. "Buy 4 get 1 free," said Rosa. Charlotte didn't know what to say. What's with that expression? Giovanna pursed her lips. "We don't have money. We only used the money to buy the perfume. We even borrowed it from the cook." "That's right. These clothes were given to us by Liang Xiao," said Therese. "We don't even have the money to buy that," said Rosa. Charlotte was stunned. "Buy what?" "That," Stella interrupted. "Sanitary pads." Charlotte was speechless. The 4 female knights appeared in front of him, sprayed cheap perfume, and collectively cried about being poor. Their motive was very obvious. Charlotte took out a wallet from his pocket and took out a card. He handed it to Giovanna. "Take it. You can buy anything you want, including a car." "You can even buy a car?" Giovanna looked very surprised. Charlotte said, "This card has a limit of 10 million in the country. You can swipe it however you like." Wow, Xia, you're so nice. Giovanna opened her arms and hugged Charlotte. Her full chest pressed against Charlotte's chest. That was not all. When she let go of Charlotte, she even kissed Charlotte on the cheek. Hugging and kissing on the cheek was nothing in Italy. It was just common etiquette. However, Charlotte was a Chinaman. He was not used to it. But whether he was used to it or not, after Giovanna let go of him, Therese, Stella, and Rosa did the same thing. They hugged and kissed him on the cheek one after another. It made him feel a little unnatural. This could be seen from his trousers. Giovanna looked at Charlotte with a smile. Xia, what are you thinking about? The other three women also stared at Charlotte. There was a smile in their eyes and the corners of their lips. Charlotte said awkwardly, Go shopping. Buy whatever you want. Also, since you're with me, I won't treat you badly. In the future, each of you will get a salary of 200,000 a month. Wow! Therese exclaimed. She opened her arms and moved closer. The other three women did the same thing. Charlotte dodged in a hurry and said with a smile, Okay. I'm not used to you guys being like this. Anyway, I just have one thing to say. If you follow me with peace of mind, you'll live a very comfortable and decent life. In Malta, we're your people, Giovanna said. Yeah, do you need us to show you our hearts? Therese made a move to unbutton her shirt. Charlotte felt dizzy. What are you guys trying to do? The four women looked at each other. Giovanna said, We can't go back to Italy anymore. We don't want to go back either. We're your people, your knights. We'll protect you for the rest of our lives. But we don't want to lose our faith, so. So what? Xia, build a Catholic church for us. Giovanna finally said. Rosa said, right next to Peace Residence. Therese said, after the church is built, there will be new brothers and sisters joining us. We know that the four of us are much weaker than the people under you, but we can build a team of faith for you. Yes, Stella said. We have many brothers and sisters in Italy. They'll be happy to join our team. So that's what it was. Charlotte had never thought of it. After figuring it out, he was happy. That's a good thing. No problem. I'll get the construction company to negotiate and build a Catholic church right next to Ping and Residence. One team after another was controlled by his four female knights, which was tantamount to increasing his power. Indeed, Giovanna and the others couldn't be compared to the members of the Zodiac Squad. But this way they could also play a very important role by his side. Xia, we didn't know before, but we know now, Giovanna said. Know what? You're the most charming man in the world. Maybe you're also the best man. Giovanna moved closer. Regardless of whether Charlotte was willing or not, she gave him another hug. Charlotte was very embarrassed. Giovanna moved closer to his ear and said in a low voice, You saved our lives. You protected our dignity and faith, so everything we have is yours. If you want, you can. Xiaolei was stunned on the spot. These words didn't make sense. But was there a need to clarify things between men and women? Giovanna let go of Charlotte and smiled. Okay, let's go buy something. The other three women also smiled at Charlotte. Their smiles were charming and moving. Charlotte's heart was in a mess. Chapter 897. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank had been fixed. The areas that needed improvement had been improved, and the areas that needed improvement had also been perfected. Compared to when it was in Russia, it was more complete and more powerful. Using it as a model, Rema Group started the plan to mass-produce the ZTZ-100 main battle tank. As for orders, Rema Group's weapons didn't need to worry about orders at all. The only thing that needed to be considered was the issue of production. Charlotte's superiors had given him a message: produce as much as you can. Money was not a problem, and resources were not a problem either. You can have whatever you want. This message seemed to be a turning point. After it, Rema Group had completely taken off. The ZTZ-100 main battle tank's technology was matured. Anina and Sylvia could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The two German women also finally welcomed their trip to Greece. But before they left, Charlotte made 2 exquisite human skin masks for them, turning them into 2 unfamiliar women. To be on the safe side, he even sent Alessio and Yelena to protect them in secret. Anina and Sylvia were Rema Group's most important talent. He had to protect them well. The day after Anina and Sylvia left, an unexpected visitor came to Thunder Horse Military Factory. This visitor was my Hattori. My Hattori appeared in front of Charlotte in a black office lady's uniform and rimless glasses. She looked like an elite in the workplace. But in Russia, she looked like a seductive and sexy woman in her gorgeous kimono. Chin Kaiwa led my Hattori into Charlotte's office to prepare tea, but Charlotte asked her to leave. "I didn't think you would dare to come to my place." Charlotte sneered. He only had one word to describe this woman, and that was, as poisonous as a snake or a scorpion. My Hattori pursed her lips and smiled. "Yes, I came to your place. What are you going to do to me? Kill me? Or sleep with me?" Her person was full of temptation, and her words were also full of temptation. "Do you really think I don't dare to kill you?" Charlotte's voice was very cold. "Why are you so hostile towards me?" My Hattori looked aggrieved. "Am I that hateful in your heart? You let 3 tanks fire at me. If I don't hate you, am I supposed to like you?" "That's the reason." Hattori May shrugged. "I'm sure you're well aware that I'm just a follower of orders. If I don't carry out this order, someone else will. You've already threatened the strategic interests of the United States. How many people want to kill you?" Although Charlotte hated her in his heart, he had to admit that what she said was true. He had now affected the strategic balance of Asia, which was tantamount to threatening America's strategic interests in returning to Asia. The United States wanted to get rid of him more than anyone else. Under such circumstances, would the people who came to kill him still want to kill him? "Charlotte, although you hate me to death, I still have to give you a piece of advice." "What do you want to say?" "Don't go abroad in the future. Next time they may send a drone to kill you." Charlotte sneered. "Thank you. You reminded me of a feasible way to kill you and your father." My Hattori was slightly taken aback. "Rema Group has already started to produce drones? This is a military secret. If you have the ability, send your spies to steal it," Charlotte said. Rema Group didn't produce drones now, but it would definitely do so in the future. My Hattori smiled again. "Don't kill me. Really, I beg you. I've always been the woman who slept with you. Don't you have any feelings for me at all?" Charlotte, this woman was not only poisonous but also shameless. These 2 detestable characteristics were combined in her, but the strange thing was that she didn't attract any hatred. "Okay, if you want to kill my father, remember to tell me after you do so." "I will send him off," my Hattori said. Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. "That time in India, you did it on purpose, didn't you? At the critical moment, you ran away and left your brother there. You clearly knew what the result would be, but you still did it. Now you're saying this again. What is your purpose? You clearly guessed it. Why do you want me to say it?" My Hattori had a charming smile on her face. Charlotte felt a chill in his heart. This woman first killed her brother, Hattori Jeppa, and now she didn't even mind revealing her intention to kill her father in front of him. Comparing her to a poisonous snake or a scorpion was clearly not enough. She was more like a poisonous spider in the animal kingdom that ate its mate. "Aren't you afraid that I will tell your father?" After a short silence, Charlotte probed. "If I was afraid, would I say it out loud?" Sometimes, enemies don't mean that they will always be enemies. At certain critical moments, enemies can also be allies. Hattori Jeppa winked at Charlotte. Charlotte understood what she meant, but he didn't show it on his face. "You came here just to say this?" "Of course, there is a formal matter. I just want to catch up with you." My Hattori undid a button on her shirt with her hand, and then put a soft hand into her chest. In Xia Lei's line of sight, her slender hand trailed down a deep white cleavage, and squeezed open her black bra. Then, she took out a milky white card from inside. My Hattori held the card, which was only the size of a business card, in both hands and handed it to Charlotte. The milky white card still had a faint scent of milk. Charlotte didn't reach out to take it, but he saw the handwritten content on it. Mr. Charlotte, Boa Forum Asia Annual Meeting, I look forward to seeing you. The signature on the card was Folsom, the CEO of Lockheed Martin Corporation. After reading the content on the card, Charlotte finally reached out and took the card. This was equivalent to an invitation from Folsom, and he had to accept it out of courtesy. However, he really didn't understand why my Hattori hid such a card in her bra. As if she had guessed Charlotte's thoughts, my Hattori raised her hands and then turned in front of Charlotte. I know what you are thinking, but I want to tell you that I don't even have a bag on me. I can only put it in my bra. I don't think you will mind, because haven't you tasted the things in my bra? Charlotte was speechless. The theme of this year's Boa Forum is peace and stability in Asia, and more than 20 Asian countries will send representatives to participate. Ms. Folsom is a special guest, and she will meet you at the annual meeting, my Hattori said. Where is it held? You don't know where the headquarters of Boa Forum is? You should really care about these things. My Hattori said, the headquarters of Boa Tire is in Hainan, China. Bill Gates and Ma Yun have both participated in the Boa Forum. I am not a member, why should I participate in the Boa Forum? Charlotte was not interested. Compared to talking loudly at the annual meeting, he wanted to do something quietly. You are not a qualified businessman after all. Others don't even have a chance to show their faces, but you are not interested. I have never thought of myself as a qualified businessman. I am better at making weapons, Charlotte said. Do you mean you are not going? Not going? Do you think I will fly to Hainan just because she wants to see me? Charlotte snorted. You are kidding me. But, my Hattori wanted to say something but stopped. Charlotte said, I have received Miss Folsom's invitation. You can go now. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, if I change my mind, you may die here. Hattori May smiled bitterly and turned to leave. At the door, she turned back to look at Xia Lei. It doesn't matter if you're going to the Boa Forum or not. Madame Folsom will be waiting for you there. Also, don't forget what I said to you just now. Charlotte just looked at her without saying anything, but he knew what my Hattori was referring to. Enemies did not mean they would always be enemies. Sometimes, enemies could be allies. My Hattori left. A disdainful smile appeared in the corners of Xia Lei's lips. Work with you? What good can you do for me? You want to use me to take charge of the Hattori family. That's a good plan. But I will not buy it. Hattori Jeppa was dead, and my Hattori was the only heir left. But she was still a woman. Japanese society was very traditional. Most of the family businesses were only passed down to the sons and not the daughters. So, it was hard to guarantee that Hattori Masao would not be pressured by the family to create another heir with a small penis. By then, her dreams would be dashed. And the easiest way for her to solve the problem was to get rid of Hattori Masao. With her personality, what was there that she could not do? Not long after my Hattori left, Liang Xiao walked in with a smile on her face. Her beautiful face was like a peach blossom. What made you so happy? Seeing Liang Xiao, Charlotte's mood improved immediately. His thoughts shifted to Liang Xiao. Liang Xiao walked over mysteriously. Guess. Charlotte made a guess but shook his head. I can't guess. Just tell me. Guess again. You will definitely get it. Liang Xiao wanted to keep him in suspense. Charlotte pulled her into his arms and pressed her on his lap. He raised his hand and slapped her but twice. Then, he said in a threatening tone, Are you going to tell me or not? No. Even if you beat me to death, I won't tell you. Liang Xiao giggled. Slap, slap, slap. Charlotte's slap greeted Liang Xiao's but like a drum. That perky area rippled and rippled. The slightly opened office lady's uniform skirt revealed a pair of black silk legs. His senior sister's legs were Wing Chun legs, the most beautiful legs. You are really generous. Hit me, hit me. If I lose my son, it will be on you. Liang Xiao turned around and glared at Charlotte. Her eyes were filled with anger, but there was also a hint of seductiveness. Those big black eyes were filled with Charlotte. There was nothing else in them. Xia Lei's hand stopped in midair, and he stared blankly for a while before he said, "You're pregnant." Chapter 898. Yes. Liang Xiao's eyes were full of happiness, but her face was full of shyness. My period was supposed to come yesterday, but it didn't come. I went to buy some pregnancy tests and found out. Ha ha ha! Liang Xiao suddenly reached out and covered Charlotte's mouth. Are you crazy? This is the office. People will laugh at us if they hear this. I'm happy. Can't I even laugh? No. Senior sister rolled her eyes at the man. She was not married, but she was pregnant with someone else's child. This was not a glorious thing for a woman. Okay. I won't laugh. Come, let me see my son. Charlotte carefully turned Liang Xiao, who was lying on his lap, one by one, and then lifted her coat and the sweater inside. A small white belly was exposed in front of him. It was delicate with a little baby fat. He wanted to see the baby inside, but he dismissed the idea as soon as it appeared. He was not sure if his X-ray vision had any side effects like radiation. His baby son was so small and so fragile. His resistance could not be compared to an adult. What if it affected the baby? Not being able to see through things did not hinder a father's love for his son. He reached out and stroked the smooth and delicate belly, muttering, "Son, do you feel Daddy's hand? Say hello to Daddy and clap your hand." Ha ha ha! Liang Xiao was amused by him. Clap your head. Our child is probably the size of a peanut now. He doesn't even have hands. How can he clap with you? Besides, I might not be pregnant with a son. It could be a daughter. A daughter is good. A daughter is our little princess. She will be as beautiful as you. Charlotte flattered the baby's mother, and the hand that was stroking the belly quietly moved up. Liang Xiao did not stop him, but she closed her eyes shyly. He had given her happiness, so she would also give him all the good things in her life. What is our child's name? Charlotte said gently in her ear. Naming is your job as a father, right? Liang Xiao said. You picked the same one. Charlotte's hands were not honest at all. You don't do that. This is the office. What if? Liang Xiao couldn't care less about naming her child. She stared nervously at the hand hidden in her clothes. It was already in a position where it shouldn't be. No one will come at this time, Charlotte said with a smile. Just as he finished speaking, a person suddenly walked in through the door. Aya! The man cried out in surprise and turned his back to her. Charlotte hurriedly released Liang Xiao. Liang Xiao also hurriedly got up from Charlotte's arms and tidied up her messy clothes. In fact, she was even more embarrassed than Charlotte, because the person who came was no one else but Fanfan, who had an official identity with Charlotte. Yes, ahem. Fanfan was also embarrassed to death. Are you guys done? Charlotte also coughed twice. What do you mean by done? We are in a meeting. Fanfan turned around and said with a red face, Yes, you are in a meeting. What I saw was also a meeting. A woman who saw her fiancé being intimate with another woman in the office definitely didn't feel good. But even if she didn't feel good, Fanfan had to force a smile and pretend that she didn't see it. Because she knew very well that compared to Liang Xiao, the foundation of her relationship with Charlotte was much weaker. Her union with Charlotte couldn't get rid of the color of a political marriage. It wasn't easy for her to get rid of this. She needed time, and more importantly, she needed to get along with Charlotte's women. In fact, the simplest question she needed to face was, if Charlotte didn't have trouble with Tang Yuyan, would he be with her? Understanding this, she knew how to get along with Charlotte's women. Liang Xiao coughed awkwardly. Sister-in-law is here. Sit down. I'll make you a cup of tea. No, 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 sit down. You're tired. I'll make you a cup of tea. Before Liang Xiao could do anything, Fan Fan strode to the water dispenser and said, Xiao, don't call me sister-in-law in the future. Just call me sister. Liang Xiao was embarrassed. She glanced at Charlotte and Charlotte nodded at her. Liang Xiao glared at Charlotte and muttered in her heart, You're dreaming. Charlotte was indeed very happy. Many men couldn't solve similar problems, but it wasn't a problem for him at all. Fan Fan really made a cup of chrysanthemum tea for Liang Xiao and a cup of black tea for Charlotte. She was simply a good wife and mother. Liang Xiao was embarrassed. She also moved a chair for Fan Fan for her to sit. Then, she found a topic to talk about. Sister, don't you have to work today? I don't have that kind of leisurely life. Fan Fan said with a smile, I'm here to pass a message to this family member of mine. Liang Xiao's face was slightly red again. Fan Fan's words were very clear. They were going to be a family in the future. Although some things were not easy to say, it was enough for everyone to know the truth. What message? Charlotte asked. If a person like Fan Fan was willing to run errands and pass a message, it was easy to imagine how important it was. This time, the Boa Forum's annual meeting wants you to show your face. Fan Fan said. Moreover, you are a special representative, so you don't need to be a member to participate. In addition, Time magazine is going to interview you at the Boa Forum. You have to accept the interview. Charlotte was very surprised. My Hattori was also talking about the Boa Forum's annual meeting. As soon as my Hattori left, Fan Fan came and said the same thing. However, he knew that it was definitely not my Hattori or Folsom who used their connections to get Fan Fan here. It was the higher-ups who really wanted him to attend the annual meeting. Why do the higher-ups want me to attend? Charlotte asked. The higher-ups want to promote you and Rema Group to the world. They want to use you and your company to send a message to the outside world. Fan Fan said, the message is actually very simple. That is, we are very powerful now and have great potential. Liang Xiao interrupted, subduing the enemy without a fight is a smart strategy. Fan Fan pursed her lips and smiled. Yes, Sister Xiao is so smart. Charlotte said, well, since it's the higher-up's idea, I'll go. Fan Fan said, I'll go with you. Xiao, you can go too. Me too? Liang Xiao shook her head. I don't want to go to such an occasion. Charlotte said, Xiao, you should go. Hainan is warm. Just take it as a vacation and relax. Liang Xiao shook her head. No, I really don't want to go. If you leave, I leave. Who will take care of the company? Charlotte still wanted to persuade her, but he couldn't find a better reason. Fan Fan suddenly leaned in to Liang Xiao's ear. She was practically biting her ear as she said, Shintu Tianin is an important member of the Boa Forum. She will also be attending this year's annual meeting. You know that my husband is soft-hearted and kind. He doesn't know how to refuse people. That woman is not an ordinary person. I can't handle her alone. Do you understand what I mean? Liang Xiao blinked and hesitated for a second. Okay, I'll go. Fan Fan smiled and said, then it's settled. I'll prepare an extra set of luggage. How can I? Liang Xiao looked very embarrassed. Fan Fan held her hand and said, why are we sisters being so polite? We're family. The two women talked animatedly and intimately, completely ignoring their men. Charlotte said gloomily, Xiao, what did Fan Fan say to you? I advised you not to go, but she just said one sentence to you and you went. What do you mean? Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Charlotte. Why do you care about us sisters? I won't tell you. I won't tell you either, Fanfan said. Charlotte was speechless. The two women continued to talk, looking very harmonious and affectionate. It looked very normal now, but in a few months' time, these two pregnant women would sit together and talk. Charlotte felt dizzy just thinking about that image. Then he thought of Jiang Rui. If the three pregnant women sat together and talked, that image. He didn't dare to think about it. Fanfan leaned over to Liang Xiao's ear. Xiao, how long have you been pregnant? Liang Xiao was shocked. Sister, how did you know? She was puzzled. She had just found out herself and couldn't wait to come to Charlotte to tell him the good news. Fanfan had just arrived, so how did she know? Fanfan lowered her voice. When he touched your belly just now, the expression on his face was the same as when he touched my belly. Yes, isn't it obvious? Liang Xiao's eyes moved to Charlotte, as if she wanted to swallow him into her stomach. Charlotte got up and walked over to the two women. He put his hands on the two women's snowy necks and gently squeezed them, saying, You've worked hard. Your husband will give you a massage. Bah, how can you say that? Who's your wife? You're shameless. Haha, why do I need to be shameless? You're enough for me. Charlotte had already put his face in his trouser pocket. Fanfan was showing goodwill to Liang Xiao, and the two women were getting along so well. This was a very rare opportunity for him. Now, they didn't reject him when he massaged them at the same time. In the future, they probably wouldn't reject him if he warmed their beds at the same time, right? For the sake of his future happiness, he had to start working hard now. The two women really didn't reject him, but they were embarrassed and angry. But no matter how embarrassed and angry they were, no woman avoided Charlotte's hand, and no woman expressed dissatisfaction. This seemed to be tacitly agreeing to something. The two women closed their eyes, not daring to look at each other, and not daring to look at Charlotte. Charlotte secretly smiled behind them, and that smile was quite a bit of a thief. The women at home had to be trained. Although this process was troublesome, it was inevitable. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.